what I don't understand is I'm like, okay, yeah, like we did that. And he suffered and he died for our sins. First of all, unmarried, so didn't suffer that much. And second of all, because his wife would have been Jewish, and boy, that would have been. But second of all,
welcome back to Macrodosing. It is Thursday. It is March 6th. We got the whole squad back in the studio today. Arian is coming up next week. He will be here in person next week. Both Sods joining us in the office. Maybe do a little golf stream, maybe some other stuff. We'll see what happens. We look forward to having you up here, Arian. And today's episode, we're going to be joined by Brace from TrueAnon, recurring guest Brace Belden, the shadow commissioner of Macrodosing. He listens to every episode. He's a big. What else does he listen to here? I think he was a big Mean Girls fan.
Call Her Daddy. Remember
Call Her Daddy. That was the gateway drug,
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he shifted to Mean Girls. Now I think he's a big fan of Taylor Watch. So we'll have to get into it.
The Hall of Mirrors.
The Hall of Mirrors. What's that?
You don't remember the Hall of Mirrors?
Oh yeah. His experience going to Barstool HQ for the first time.
Correct.
Yeah. So excited to have Brace on to talk about the latest update in the Jeffrey Epstein saga, Ghislaine Maxwell saga, the new redacted report that came out. And before we get to that, let's do some house cleaning stuff. Let's do some normal Thursday macrodosing stuff. Aaron, you were gone for Monday's episode.
Yep.
Tuesday's episode, excuse me. Some people were calling you a coward. Some people were saying, "Oh, Arian's afraid to join the program after Dalton Knecht just had a monster game for the Lakers."
And Luka
had a monster game for the Lakers. He was afraid to face the music. So it just so happens that the day after LeBron James scores 50,000 points, Arian can join the program and talk about that. So that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, it is nice. I'm a Laker fan, so I'm hyped. Just because I didn't agree with it initially doesn't mean that I don't cheer for my squad. That's my squad. So I'm hoping everything goes well. But like I said, I just think that style of basketball. But the one thing I will say about Luka that I think he does a little bit better than James Harden with that style of basketball play is he passes the ball way better.
Yeah.
But ball dominant, you know what I'm saying? What matters in those kind of offenses is how you do that shit in the playoffs when the possessions are down and the defense clamps up. So we'll see. I'm hopeful, bro. I'm gonna be the first one with a Luka jersey on. I'm a Laker fan, baby. Don't get it twisted. So let's run it.
Arian Foster, #1 Luka fan. If he drops 40 in the playoffs, you're back in.
I was never out on him as a player. I just don't like that style of play. Does that make sense?
It does. I get it.
All right.
Like I don't like watching James Harden play basketball, even when he was at his best. So I can understand what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, I liked watching him, but like I said, I don't think it's conducive to like winning. I mean, there's at one point he's like 36 a game, wasn't he? That shit's crazy. Yeah. That shit's crazy.
You get 20 from the line, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm all. Hey, trust me, brother. I'll be glad to say I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong, and the Lakers got a chip on them. Feel me? Don't get it twisted.
I'm not getting it twisted.
It's a good thing you don't get it twisted.
I never get it twisted. How would this work in the reply guys? Because they have a whole history with LeBron James of how every championship doesn't count. Like every ring is, Mickey Mouse. Oh, Kyrie carried him.
2020 was literally Mickey Mouse.
It was literally.
I hate this argument. I hate this argument.
No. That's to say nothing of whether you think it was legitimate or not, but it was literally played at the home of Mickey Mouse.
Were all the teams there?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Which team wasn't there?
Well, they only sent like the bottom half of the league. They didn't even send, right?
I'm talking about when the time came to get in the bubble. All the teams that were available for the playoffs was there, right?
Yes.
Okay. All the teams were there. All of them faced the same variables, right?
Yeah. No. Yeah. And that's
all
they won. They won.
They were the best team in the NBA. The NBA happened to be going through a year that the entire world went through, which was COVID. But in that arena with all those variables, they were the best team. What are we talking about? Why is
The
it count?
Celtics were the best team every year when there were 6 teams in the NBA. They won it. They did all they could
Such
do.
a false analogy.
But that doesn't mean that
That's
it's the
such a
same.
false analogy.
I think it's a pretty good analogy.
How all the teams, all the best league in the world for basketball is the NBA. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
At the time in 2020, this was also the case. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
In what world does that championship not count? I don't understand.
I never said it doesn't count. I never said it doesn't count.
So what are we talking about then?
He mentioned Mickey Mouse. I said it was played at Mickey Mouse's home.
Oh, okay. Okay. You don't give me all
Wait,
riled
No,
up.
I
no,
do.
no, okay,
I do
let's-
also believe it's
Weasel out,
fake,
yeah.
but that's
How-
neither here nor
how
there.
is
I have
it
a question
fake?
for you.
So no matter who won
Where
that
does
year,
Mickey Mouse live?
Yes, no matter who won, it would have been fake. Correct.
Where does Mickey Mouse live?
actually
I don't know,
coastal.
on a steamboat. I don't know.
No, that's original Mickey Mouse. That's racist Mickey Mouse.
I agree.
He was racist.
Woke Mickey Mouse. Where does he live?
Steamboat Willie. Yes. Orlando.
He lives in Florida, Orlando, Florida.
And also LA.
Yeah, but that's fake.
Agreed.
Yeah, he lives in Florida. He's Florida Mouse.
That actually finished this, and that brings me to an interesting question.
Big T, I have a question for you. Where was the 2020 NBA championship played?
Walt Disney World in Orlando.
It was a Mickey Mouse championship. It was at Mickey Mouse's home.
Okay, that's my fault. I thought when you said Mickey Mouse, you was like, it wasn't real basketball or something like that. I
Oh,
don't
now
know.
that you bring it up.
Well, we think
we
that
could make an
too,
argument.
but that's a different discussion.
But you have no substance behind this thought. It's just it's your fifis. You gotta get your fifis.
There were no
What
people in
does
the
that mean?
stands. There was no home court advantage. LeBron probably ran that bubble.
Do you think it's easier or more difficult
Because
to play in front of an LED screen as opposed to going on the road in the playoffs?
All of them were on the same court. What are we
That's
talking
true.
about?
That is true.
What are we talking about?
That is
man?
true, and they were the best under those circumstances.
So how does it it doesn't make any sense to me. Like this
I think
argument-
I don't know if it was the same circumstances because LeBron James pretty much ran the bubble. He was the warlord of the bubble. If LeBron had decided I don't feel like playing, he could have got people together and be like, "Hey, we're not doing this bullshit. They're locking us in a hotel. We're prisoners. Let's just go home to our families."
You know what I've realized about LeBron's detractors over the years? He can't do anything correctly. There's not one thing he could do correctly. Mans does the most, and he always getting criticized. It don't matter what he does. He cannot do right. Mans wins championship, they own him. Mans don't win a championship, they own him. Mans carries team to the playoffs, they own him. Mans doesn't carry team to the playoffs, they own him.
Now you get it.
Yep.
Mans leads the league in scoring, they own him. Mans doesn't lead the league in scoring, they own him. It's like, why can't he can't do nothing.
Yeah. Like the entire thing you just said was 100% correct.
I can't do it. At some point, you gotta wake up and realize, I'm just a hater.
No.
I think he's the best basketball player to ever live.
I think he might be also. And I think he might be even a better dad than he is a basketball player.
I don't know the man personally, but from everything, from the optics, it looks like a great father. Amazing.
He got his son drafted.
That was amazing too.
Great
And
dad move.
and he is balling right now. He was balling in the G League for a little bit, and they brought him up. Like, that man's just doing a great job. And I got so many people, they're taking somebody's spot. He's taking some hardworking guys. Shut the fuck up. I ain't never heard nobody bang for a last pick in the second round that goes to the G League, bro. Shut up.
I just think that Mac McClung needs to be on a roster.
I don't.
He took Mac McClung's spot.
That man has had several spots.
Yeah, I know, but you're telling me that Mac McClung can't get on an NBA roster?
I think he could jump.
Yeah.
That motherfucker could jump. But like his all-around game, I don't think it's suited for the NBA. He's small too.
What you said about Disneyland being fake, though, brought up an interesting question in my mind because Disneyland was first, but it stinks,
It's not good.
and Disney World is way better.
And I'm saying this as somebody who has never been to Disneyland, but I have been to Disney
same.
World. Yeah.
but I know, but we
yeah.
haven't gone because we know it stinks.
Yeah, it stinks.
I've been to both.
I've been to both.
I think they both fired. Dog. I think there's parts of each ones that I like more than the others. So for Orlando. I love the Avatar exhibit. I love the well, no, that's it. For the LA one, I like the Star Wars joint. The Star Wars joint. It's crazy. Do they have
That's
that
in
the Orlando?
Florida too.
Oh shit! What do they have in the LA one then? It was
They have cars.
no, there was another one that they don't have. Hold on, I forget what it was. It's been a while since I went to the LA one. Hold tight. Or talk about some other hater shit.
My question was going to be what things have a better sequel than the original. So it could be movies, could be, whatever you want it to be.
Top Gun, easy.
Good answer.
That is correct.
Good answer. Top Gun 2 was fucking incredible, and Top Gun 1 was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might be the best sequel of all time.
I'm not.
I'm trying to think of what other things this would be applicable to other than movies.
Things where they upgraded it in round 2. I think I like cherry Coke better than I like real Coke.
Okay, that's interesting. I am a big fan of cherry Coke as well. I don't know that it's better than regular Coke. You know what might be, though?
What?
Which is akin to cherry Coke. And it's hard to find. It's Mr. Pibb.
Mr. Pibb, yeah. Well, they changed it.
Right now it's Pibb Extra.
Pibb Extra.
But it's the same thing.
I think it's the exact same formula. They rebranded it to make it, they didn't want a gender.
I know Chipotle has Pibb. Some movie theaters will have it. But it's difficult to find. But when you find it, it's like finding a gold scar.
Indiana Jones. My bad. Indiana Jones one's in LA. That's my fault. Sorry.
Is it a ride or like a show?
It's like a whole thing. It's kind of like the Star Wars joint. It's like a whole exhibit.
Oh, okay.
Thing.
I mean, I can think of in Indiana Jones the movies. I would say the third one is probably better than the first one.
I'll keep it a bean.
Never seen any of them.
I ain't seen none of them either.
And Indiana Jones 1 was great. Indiana Jones 2, probably the worst of the bunch. The Temple of Doom, that's one where he pulls the guy's heart out of his chest. That's the only part that is awesome in that movie. And then 3 was Raiders of the Lost Ark, and that one's got Nazis in it. And the what's the document that the Ark?
Ark of the Covenant?
Ark of the Covenant, yeah. They open it up, and then the guy's face explodes. That's a good movie. I'd say that in terms of threequels, that one is better than the original.
The only Rocky I've seen is 4. Are the sequels generally considered to be better than the original there? I know some of them suck.
Some of them are. Rocky 4, I believe, is the one where it's USA versus Russia with Drago.
Right.
And that's a good one. Rocky Balboa, that was a good one, right?
The only one I've seen is 4. I don't know.
Every single Toy Story got better. Every single one got better. I think all number 4 almost made me cry. That shit was fire, dog. There's an argument better or worse, but they are all uniquely amazing movies. There's not
the first one though is so good.
I mean, that was like the introduction of Pixar, yeah. It was like
I don't remember Toy Story 2. 3 is when they're about to all die, and then they get saved.
That's like everyone.
But they're like going into the fire, and they all like accept death together, and then
that was gorgeous. Wasn't that a gorgeous moment?
Somehow escape.
Holding each other's hands and shit. It was amazing.
And then 4 was really good, but I it's hard to beat the original Toy Story.
Fury Road, I think, was better than the original Mad Max. I think The Dark Knight Rises, I think that was better than the first Dark Knight that Christopher Nolan did.
Oh, you talking about the one with Heath?
Yeah. So wait, which one had Bane? Was Bane?
That was Dark Knight Rises.
Oh yeah. So I don't know. I'm gonna retract that take.
Yeah, no. The Dark Knight was probably the best fucking.
They're both really fucking good.
I don't disagree. Bane. It was so hard to follow up that performance with Heath.
Yeah.
And that dude did I don't know who that is, but he did a great job of Bane.
That was Tom Hardy. I am the Batman. You're the Batman?
Oh.
You adopted the darkness. I was born into it, Batman.
Molded by it. I don't do very good voices, but yeah, that shit was fire.
Blade Runner. Jeff D. Lowe loves the Blade Runner sequel that came out.
I've never seen Blade Runners.
I've requested so I asked Jeff D. Lowe, Disneyland or Disney World, who you got? Because he is the number one Disney person.
He had to say Disney World. Unless living in LA has radicalized him.
Oh, good point. Well, he replies, Disney World by a country mile.
Okay, good. Yeah,
a country mile,
Yeah.
Arian.
No, I agree Disney World is better, but I mean, we just not going to shit on Disneyland. Especially from two guys who've never been there.
Here's what he says about Disneyland. Land is cool. It has its perks, one of which is being able to do it all in a day is cool. So that's also backhanded.
That's a minus for me.
That's a big backhanded compliment. I've only been to Disney World, I believe, 4 full times. First, let's break that down. I've only been there 4 times.
What constitutes a full time?
But 4 full times.
Every
all
park?
the parks?
I think that means he's only done all of Disney World in one sitting 4 times. But he's probably gone to Disney World other times than that.
Yeah.
Right.
Disneyland, I've been to now a bunch since I live 15 minutes away.
Wow.
A country mile, Disney World. What is a country mile?
That's the same thing as a regular mile, I assume, but feels longer.
Well, you know what country mile means, right?
I don't.
I don't either.
It's like out in the country, you're just kind of, it's a mile down the road, and it might be 2, 3, 4 miles. You say it's a mile.
Okay, gotcha. I did not know that.
That's my understanding of where it comes from.
Yo, so
Why is it New? Yeah.
I was just gonna circle back to this sequel thing. I looked at the top 10 Red Tomatoes sequels of all time.
Red tomato.
It's like the top 100, but like I was going to the top 10. It validates one of my points, but one of them is hilarious. The number one. Should I start with the number one?
Yep.
All right. The number one is Paddington 2.
Oh yeah.
I've never
I've
seen
heard
either one Paddington.
I've heard Paddington 2 is one of the best movies ever made.
Really?
Is that the one Che was recently lamenting?
Well, that's Paddington in Peru. That's, I believe, the 3rd installment.
Ah,
Is this little bear movie? It's all right like that?
I think I've heard nothing but great things about Paddington 2.
Yeah,
Not to
I've
run
heard
it.
Paddington 1 sucks dick. Paddington 2 fucks pussy.
All right, moving on to number 2. Number 2 is Toy Story 2. Boom.
I may need to go back and watch 2. I don't
Sure.
remember anything from
Watch
2.
the whole story.
2 is when it's the guy and he paints the bottom of the shoe and he sews.
Oh, the creepy. Yeah, I hated that guy as a kid. He scared the shit out of me.
So number 3 is, I haven't seen this one, 3 Colors Red. I haven't heard that. It was in 1984. I haven't. The number 4 is a 1964 007 Goldfinger. Number 5 is Toy Story 3.
Hmm.
And number 6 is Before Midnight, 2013. Haven't seen that either. Number 7 is Godfather 2. The whole thing is cracking. Number 8, Bride of Frankenstein, 1935.
Hmm.
Damn. Like cameras back then. And number 9, Toy Story 4.
Damn.
Yeah. And then number 10 is Mission Impossible Fallout. That's another series that, like, you can't really go wrong. All them shits is cracking.
They are good. I don't like the ones that over rely on masks though.
You talking about when
Where
they turn off the...
Yeah, by the end of it, it's like you don't know everyone's wearing a mask.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I kind of like it. I feel you, though.
But yeah, the Mission Impossible ones, those are awesome.
Yeah.
World War II, I think better than World War One.
We're talking about the
More
movie.
memorable,
More
for
memorable,
sure.
yeah. But I mean, it was a sequel. It was a direct sequel.
Are you talking about the movie or like the...
No, talking about the wars.
Is there a movie? Just World War II?
They haven't made a movie about World War II yet.
Not in a long
should.
time.
They should. Yeah, Aaron, we talked about that on Tuesday's show. How we're due for another World War II movie, and it was like they haven't made one in a long time. And then they were like, "What about Oppenheimer that came out last year?" But that's a science movie. It's not a war movie.
I'm cool on the war movies, man. And the slave movies. I'm done with them shits.
What was the last 12 Years a Slave?
Yeah, 12 Years a
I
Slave.
don't even know. I don't really watch them anymore. It's they beating it into the ground.
A good war movie still hits, though.
No, I don't, it never got me like that. I'm anti-war, so none of that shit is appealing to me, except for Dances with Wolves. That shit was fire.
I don't think I ever saw that one.
It's like 4 hours, lock in, but it's
Out, lock out. No 4 hours. We talked about this on Tuesday too. If it's longer than like 3:15, no can do.
What if you're binging the series?
I can't watch anything for longer than 3 hours.
Really? Oh,
Like if it's even if it's a show like that's of a 30-minute show, that's 7 or 8 episodes by the time you take out commercials.
you might just be a product of your era. You young people's attention span is shit.
No, I kind of agree with him on the movie take, but it. There have been so many times when I've sat down and watched 6 hours of a show.
You know what I'm saying? Like
You get that naughty look on your face, and you look over at the person you're watching with. You're like, "You want to watch another one?"
But by the end, I mean, you're not even.
You want to be.
That's
Your
one of the-
eyes are glazed
that's one of the
over.
That's one of the best things in the world, though. You look over like one more, you're like, yeah, one more.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You feel like being bad? Yeah.
I'm currently doing that. So I am speed running this anime journey of mine. And so I started with Solo Leveling. I'm all caught up. That has 2 seasons. I don't know how many more episodes are left in this season, but I'm just obsessed with that show. That shit's one of the best things I've ever watched. I love it. It's so dope. And then so while waiting for the next episodes to drop, I started Attack on Titan. And again, I just slept on anime my entire life. It was never anything. I always thought it was kind of corny, honestly. But that shit is fire, dog. I just love the premises of the shows, the science fiction aspect of them, the storytelling of them. It's just really dope. The character development of each one, it's dope. So I'm speed running Attack on Titan, and so like I've back to back like 6-7 episodes back to back. It's really fun.
I've tried to watch anime before. It just doesn't hit for me. Did it take you a while to get into it?
It took me like 2 episodes of Solo Leveling to be like, all right, this is kind of interesting. But the first, because I really did it because like my son, what I like to do with like all my kids, like I figure out what they're into and I get into it just like we have like a baseline of something to, what is the word I'm looking for? To bond over, right?
Yeah.
And so he was like, I'm really into this new anime, and I was like, oh fuck, I gotta watch anime. And he was like, yeah, just check it out. So we went home after he had his basketball training, and I was like, yeah, man, run it, man. I was in the back of my mind, I'm like, it's gonna be whack. And then one episode played, I was like, it's kind of okay, it's not horrible. And then the second episode, I was like, hey, yo, this shit kind of, and then like dope ass shit started happening. I don't want to spoil it for people who want to get into it, but really dope shit started happening. I love sci-fi. I love like people with different powers and stuff like that. And that's the premise of that show. And then I just binged like almost the whole season that day. I was like, yo, and he was like super excited. He can't hold water. He was like, yo, okay, you got to really watch this part. I'm like, nigga, I'm watching this part. It's a really dope. I think if you just got to commit, Solo Level is my favorite one. And that could be low, but that was my first one. I'm enjoying Attack on Titan, but I think I'm just so locked into Solo Leveling. That's my but like ever since I tweeted about it, people are giving me mad suggestions, and so like there's thousands of episodes on somebody's shit. So I gotta, I still have other shit to do, but it's I'm a fan, bro. I'm a fan of it.
It's a good dad thing to do. Is there anything? Because I feel like Aaron, you could take anything that your kids were interested in, and you could see why it's interesting if you like dedicated yourself to it a little bit. You gave it a shot. Is there anything they could be interested in, like a hobby, that you would be like, no, not for me. Not even going to try.
Not my kids. No, I think like so. My daughter, my oldest daughter, and my youngest daughter bond over this game called it's some Roblox game, and they like it's like fashion. It's fashion. So they go into closets and they have these little fashion shows, and it'll be like it'll give you challenges, and you go and you dress against real people, and or other people on the internet, and it'll be like dress like a global superstar, and you have to go and fix your outfit and stuff, and that's nothing I would ever be into, but my baby's is into it, so like. One day we just on it, and I'm like, yo, let me get on. So like I'm putting together a fit, and I'm trying to mix and match clothes like that. I wear, y'all know me, I wear sweats every day. And but like no, I think in general, I think it's it's more about what the reason as to why you're doing it, which is why I don't ever have a problem getting into what my kids are doing, because it's more about them. It's a way to connect with them rather than trying to satiate my pleasure palate.
It's good perspective. What if your son came home and he was like, "Dad, I just love the Boston Celtics.
No,
Jason Tatum."
Yeah, we got problems. I'm going. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. But they already Laker fans, so.
But then you could bond over like your mutual hatred of each other.
Yeah, I mean, it still wouldn't. It wouldn't
like bust some balls.
Yeah, it would be fun stuff. But I would be lightweight disappointed because all of them are Laker fans. All my babies like the Lakers now.
Your daughter comes home and she goes, "Dad, I've taken a real interest in dog training."
Oh. Oh man, you're pushing my limits as a father.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know, because I got a turtle. I got a turtle sitting upstairs right now.
Yeah.
The tank. And
she's still cleaning it with your toothbrush?
Yeah, every now and then. But it's in its own little environment, so it doesn't get dirty anymore. But she feeds it. I don't understand the appeal of this damn thing, but she loves it. Tina the turtle.
And she's using your toothbrush to clean its shell, correct?
No. One of my old joints, yeah. Not my current one.
Some other people are saying online Predator 2 better than the original Predator. I don't know about that. I'm gonna say no.
Now you talk about a movie that they need to run back. I wouldn't be mad if they ran that one back.
Predator?
Yeah, like with the CGI nowadays.
Didn't they recently make one?
They made was that Alien vs Predator?
Yeah.
And then there might have been Predators.
That was a long time, wasn't it? How long ago was that? I could be
AVP
wrong.
was 2003, I want to say.
Yeah,
that is the highest I've ever been in a movie theater.
Oh, really?
Was watching Alien vs Predator. Yeah. And it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, mine was, we went to go see How High. You remember the movie How High with Method Man Redman?
Yep.
So we all rolled one in the parking lot. We came in there smelling. We hotboxed. Oh, dumbasses. We hotboxed and walked into the. And then I was underage. I believe this is the How High one because we did it a lot. But I was underage and I was with my brother and his homeboy. And it was like, yo, go get the tickets. And it was 18. You had to be 18 to get the tickets, right? Because it was rated R. Mm-hmm. I was like, bro, I'm not 18. And then he was like, you just take my ID. So I had to take my brother's ID high as shit to go get the tickets. So you know how nervous I was?
Yeah. It's a rite of passage as a kid. When Alien vs. Predator came out, we planned like 2 months in advance for how high we were going to be for that movie. Like when the Afghan weed came back in town, we made sure to get some of that, and then we'd store it in a secure, correctly humidified environment, so it would be ready to go for Alien vs. Predator night.
Those were the
best
days,
weed
man.
that we could find. Yeah, I think we might have hotboxed for that one too. Then you walk in, everybody in your group smells like weed because you just smoked in a car.
Everybody knows you're high, and the number one prevailing thought is, "Do you think they know I'm high?"
Yeah.
Big T has no fucking clue what we're talking about.
No idea.
Oh, and also, what was great back in the day too was having to figure out what you're going to smoke out of. Like if you didn't have anybody that could roll a good blunt.
What's the wildest shit you smoked out of?
I had a go-to. My go-to was you head to 7-Eleven, you pick up a 20-ounce bottle of Gatorade or Sprite, you get a ballpoint pen, like a Bic pen, and then you buy a Nestle Crunch bar because the Nestle Crunch comes in aluminum foil wrapping. And then you maybe get some electrical tape if you have that around. Then you light the end of the ballpoint pen on fire after you drink all the Gatorade or the Sprite or whatever, and then you poke a hole in the side of the Gatorade container with the ballpoint pen. You take, the pen and the ink and all that stuff out, so it's just a hollow plastic tube. You wrap the aluminum foil around the end of it to make your little bowl, maybe put some electrical tape on there, and then you fill it up with a little bit of water, light the weed, makes it bubble. Homemade bubbler. That was our
little
go-to.
Water bomb, little makeshift water bomb. Okay.
Yeah.
My go-to was we used to take this Coke cans and we used to crush them like sideways to where it's like almost like a block, like that. And then
Yep.
you would poke little tiny holes in one of the sides. I mean, in the top, and then poke one big hole on the side for a little I don't know what
Shotgun hole?
Yeah, a little shotgun hole, and you would just light it up with a little aluminum can. That was the go-to.
That was the best. Yeah. Also, you'd have a shotgun hole on the side of the water bottle too for your thumb that you'd hang on to. And then one of my friends bought like a $20 tiny glass pipe at an outdoor music festival because that's the only place that you could buy. You didn't have like smoke shops back
That's
then.
the
really.
Pyrex joints.
Yeah.
Oh man, that bring back memories too. Damn.
It was a lot harder to smoke weed back then.
It was like you went on missions.
Yeah.
Like I remember for years in middle school, I used to go. I had one of the little hitters. It was like a little one hitter thing, and I used to leave my house like at 5, say I'm gonna walk around the block, go play in the neighborhood, and I'm like 12, 13, horrible by the way, but I was bad, and I used to leave, come back, hit it right before bed, come into bed, high as hell, watching Change Your Heart. I don't know if you remember that game, that talk show. That was my shit every night. Change Your Heart, and what was the other one? The Fifth Wheel. Was it The Fifth Wheel? Yeah.
That was a reality show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to
Dating
come on like
show?
back to back. Yeah, I used to come. I think it was The Fifth Wheel. Yeah, there was like 2 or 3 dating shows I used to watch back to back, and it shit was fascinating to me.
Yeah, we had one friend, and he had a friend who was really good at rolling blunts, like the best. And I don't even know how close these two guys were, but he would always be like, "James, roll these guys a blunt for me," and then James would be like, "Yes, sir." He just hung out to roll blunts for people.
And you never smoked?
No, he would smoke, but like
Oh.
that was his only role in the friend group. He was really nice at doing that. Yeah.
That's pretty dope. Yeah. Shout out to James.
Yeah,
Hope he's doing well.
totally, guys.
No, there were side quests that you would go on, and that was like your activity that you would do for the afternoon.
Mhm.
It's like you have to accomplish something. You had to use your brain. It was like problem solving. It was creative, and then you got your reward at the end.
Yeah, I used to hustling up money to get together like little nick bags, dime bags, 20 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
It was a journey, man. It was a thing.
Yep. All right, we're gonna get to Brace, friend of the program, Brace Belden from the True Anon podcast. Go download the True Anon podcast if you like it. Become a Patreon of theirs. I'm a listener of True Anon. I've been a fan of Brace for a long time. He is a fan of Macrodosing. He's a fan of the program. He's a friend of the program, and he's going to join us because he is an expert on pretty much everything related to Jeffrey Epstein. And he's brought to you by Pardon My Cheesesteak. Ordering Pardon My Cheesesteak for a game day meal or late night eats is the best play call that you can make. Pick your favorite cheesesteak made with thinly sliced steak, melted provolone, mouth-watering cheese sauce, and caramelized onions on a toasted hoagie roll. Or you can order the popular Big Cat Combo. Get your choice of cheesesteak, fries, and a drink. Go to pardonmycheesesteak.com. Order the code PMC20, 20% off your order. Pardonmycheesesteak.com. Use code PMC20, and you get 20% off your order. And now, here's Brace Belden. Ran into this guy the other day. He said, "Funny, I never see you at the club anymore." I said, "Yeah, I never see you at the bank." That's deep.
Or what PFT calls the Jewish club.
What's up, Brace? How we doing, Brace?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful.
No, it's the bank. The song that I was referencing has 3 parentheses around the words "the bank," so
The bank.
It's in context.
The bank.
Yes. Are we still doing that these days? Are we still putting parentheses around things? I haven't seen
I
that.
feel like that fell off. I feel like the only people doing that are people who are really like, that was a great, they loved that. And it was like allowed to be, because some of us, like my last name is Belden. It's like a normal, well, not going to say normal, but it's a goy last name. And I feel like if I was one of those people, I'd put the 3 parentheses around because I'm missing a Stein or a Berg.
Yeah, you'd self-report.
I'd self-report. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do 3 parentheses indicate?
It was like 2015, 2014, I think, that started, where people would put parentheses around a Jewish person's name to let people know that they were Jewish. So when you see,
let people know that you had to say it in a whisper because you respected them so much that you kind of only whisper their name.
Yeah, that's right. No, it was mostly done by people who dislike strongly the Jewish people.
Interesting.
And so they would let others know that they were talking about a Jewish person by putting their name in parentheses.
Got it.
Like the reason PFT goes by PFT now is because, I mean, originally when he started at Barstool, his name was Paul Feldstein Titaniumowitz. And because of, anti-Semitism rampant in the sports industry, he had to shorten it to PFT. But people still do the parentheses around him.
Right. Or like Liam Cohen, the new coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Surprisingly, no parentheses around that one.
None.
Yeah, no parentheses, even though Cohen, I always assumed. That voice you hear is Brace Belden, friend of the program, back on Macrodosing because we have some Jeffrey Epstein news to talk about, and Brace knows more about Jeff Epstein than anybody. Brace, you're not on the list, are you?
No, I mean, what's a list? Name on a piece of paper. Did I go to the island? Yes. There's lots of islands in the Caribbean. Did I go to the townhouse? Yes. I live in New York City. Did I go to the place in Palm Beach? Yes. It's a nice place in the country. It's Florida. Lots of people go there. Trump has a place there. I can't go there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a new fake Epstein thing happening.
Yes. It's a lot of smoke. I did not notice. I saw the people that were given the binders the other day. And we had, it was Chaya Raychek, Libs of TikTok, Liz Wheeler, your friend Jack Basobiak.
Love him.
But you were not invited for some reason.
Invitation must have got lost in the. It was incredible. So to back up a little bit, I want you guys to Google this, both you guys at your little laptops and the people at home. There's been like a couple people involved in like who are supposed to be like declassifying stuff, which the Epstein stuff isn't classified in the same way that like military stuff would be, but you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Disclosure stuff. One of those people is Anna Paulina Luna.
Yes.
And who I love. I love this lady. She's like she's from Florida congresswoman, totally crazy. Luna is a last name she adopted to sound more Latina. She at one point claimed to be Jewish before people realized that actually, her grandfather that she said was Jewish was kind of on the other side of the conflict, was a member of the Wehrmacht. And she's incredible. I mean, but I don't know if you're looking at her, but the lip filler on this lady, I love it.
Yeah.
This is tasteful filler. Not like some people on this programs I could name. This is tasteful filler.
So yeah, let's talk about what's going on right now because we've been told that Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, has some new hot intel that she's willing to release, and they're trying to bring to the light what was once in the dark. Now, yeah, there's been a lot of stuff that has already been reported. I think back in like the 2014, 2013, when did the South Florida newspaper start doing their investigation into Epstein? That was way back in the day.
Way back. I mean, so Epstein got busted first time in 2007, 2008, when he got the crazy plea deal in Florida, and negotiated on the government side by future labor secretary under Trump 1, which was Alex Acosta. A lot of that stuff, like it was reported on, but it really got a lot of attention in 2017 when the guy negotiated for the government was given a executive post or a post in the cabinet. The Black Book, the famous, like the closest thing that we have to a list, came out in 2015 from Nick Bryant in Gawker. He posted the whole thing. The closest I can say, before we even really get into all this stuff, there's a lot of talk about an Epstein list. And as far as we know, I've been studying this guy for a long time. I think I know kind of a lot about it. There's been no indication that there is like a master list of like guys I taped having sex with kids, like, leaving that in the thumb drive or in the fuck on a piece of paper. That is like something that has kind of become like a mythical emblem.
It's lore
for a lot of people.
It's lore that there's a list. And it's like once you achieve this next step, if you vote the right politician and whatever key unlocks that door, we will finally get the list. And the list, the reporter Julie K. Brown is the one who worked on it for the Miami Herald, and she said there's no Jeffrey Epstein client list, period. It's a figment of the internet's imagination and just a means to slander people. So there's a black book which contains the names of people that Jeffrey Epstein knew and people that he somehow, maybe he didn't know some of them, maybe he got their phone numbers through a friend of a friend or whatever, but they have copies of his black book. But now I feel like there's been so many fake pages from that black book that we lose sight of what was really in that, like whose names were actually in the black book and whose names weren't in the black book. But yeah, the most recent thing is we're going to be transparent with the Jeffrey Epstein investigation, and we'll release the full files. At least this was phase 1, is what they're saying, which was actually less information than we already knew before.
Well, I think it's personally brave of the administration, because you've got RFK Jr. I love this guy. It's every time he talks, he sounds like it's like the last thing your grandfather's telling you before he dies. But RFK Jr., listen, I know you guys like sports. Whatever. That's great. I know. Well, but you have to deal with them, right?
Well, he just happens to be really, really, really good at them, but he doesn't like them.
Yeah, and you're good at them.
Yeah.
Well, I love guys who cheat in crazy ways. I love a cheater. I love somebody who's like, yeah, honey, I'm out with the guys, and he's banging 5 or 6 chicks around town. RFK Jr., for me, because again, cheating is my sport. I don't participate, but I watch it. A lot of talk about who's the GOAT. Oh, is it LaFraud, as he's referred to around these parts?
Yeah, we had a discussion.
Is it Kobe? You know, is it who is it? Is it O.J. Simpson? Arian. Arian, you can nod. It's okay now. Trump's president again. He's the best.
Comedy's legalized.
Yeah, it's comedy, and the truth is back and is in session. But RFK Jr. is the GOAT of cheating. He cheated so much on his ex-wife that she, in the parlance of today, unalived herself. There is nobody doing it like that today. And he flew on the plane. He was hanging out with Jeffrey, and he's part of the administration, the most transparent administration in history that's like, let it out there. And I admire that, because, of course, Epstein's in the black book. Jason Kalakanakis is in the black book. There's a lot of people who are intimately connected to this administration that are in the black book. And I feel like there's sort of a double-edged sword that they have here. One is like, it's kind of grist for the mill for like a lot of people who love Trump, who think that the black book coming out will like send Hillary Clinton to Guantanamo Bay. But on the other side, there's a lot of people who are pretty closely connected to this administration, both in terms of like actually in the government and like in the realm of private equity or finance and business, that are also like pretty closely tied up to Jeffrey Epstein. And so there has been like when Trump was in office the first time and Ghislaine got arrested, like there was like press conferences where he'd be like, I wish her well. And I didn't read too much into that, because he kind of just says shit like that. You know what I mean? But people were like, that's kind of weird thing to say. Like, he did it a couple times. And then he was like, I don't know if I want to release this stuff. This was between administrations, like when Biden was president. He was like, well, if I get in again, I don't know if I'm going to release this stuff, because there's a lot of names in there. People might be innocent. And then he goes on Lex Fridman. Are you guys familiar with this Lex Fridman podcast?
Yeah. I've watched a couple of his episodes.
Like if a book could talk.
Brother, exactly. Yeah. It's like it is crazy to watch. Who is watching this stuff? No disrespect to anyone who does.
I think he's a very smart guy in terms of computers, and so he tried to pivot into being a podcaster, and he's very successful at it. Like he gets millions of views on stuff. But the interview that he did with Zelensky was very funny, where
one of the funniest.
He was like, say something nice about Vladimir Putin. Let's try to build a bridge between the two of you. And Zelensky was like, fuck you. No, I'm not going to say anything
Every
nice.
time he does like an interview with somebody, it's like he wiki-howed empathy or whatever, or like ChatGPT, like how to talk to another human being.
I think
he's incredible.
I think he went on Grok. I think he asked, no joke, before the Zelensky interview, I think he asked Grok how to mediate conflicts. Yes, and Grok gave him steps like you would tell a third grader that was in a fight with some other kid in their class, and they were doing pure mediation. And so you would say something nice about Thomas, something that you like about him, and try to build that bridge. And then he tried to solve the Ukraine-Russia war by doing that exact same thing.
And it worked. Right
That's
now,
true.
Right now it worked.
Yeah.
But Trump goes on Lex Fridman's podcast, which is incredible. And Friedman asks him like, "Hey, like, are you gonna release the?" He does, I can't even do an imitation, but he's like, "Trump, a lot of people are asking, will you release the Epstein documents?" And then Trump is kind of just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna release them. Maybe I will, but I will. I'll probably release them. We'll look at what's in them, but I'll probably release them." And that became like a promise, that like a campaign promise that he had to fulfill. And so now this also has a crazy weird backstory in the new FBI director, Kash Patel, who I love this guy. I love
you
this
love
guy.
all these.
Arian, have you seen this dude?
Yeah,
He is.
funny.
You know how like whenever sometimes like you see guys in night vision and there's like 6 eyes and they're looking everywhere. He can do that with just his 2 regular eyes. Like he's constant scanning. He's crazy looking. Also, his Wikipedia or whatever, like the internet says he's 5'9", but I'm saying 5'6". Not there's anything wrong with that. But he is also like engaged in this war against like people he doesn't like at the FBI and DOJ. And so that factors into that too. So keep a note on that. And so Pam Bondi is like starts like declaring that they're going to release the Epstein documents. And then a couple of weeks ago, like a week before they dropped, she's like going on Jesse Waters and she's like, "The documents that I have, this will make you sick. What this man was doing, it will make you sick. And I have a lot of documents and they're on my desk and they make me sick." And she's like not saying anything, but she's just like talking for 3 minutes at a time about how there's documents and they'll make you sick. And what's in the documents will make you sick as well. Cut to, I guess it's like the 27th, I think, when they summon a group of Jack Posobiec, who is a former naval intelligence agent and a Polish Nazi. No disrespect. I mean, it's just an objective thing, that exists in history. But he's basically like a Polish Nazi.
No disrespect.
He was
No disrespect.
He was
to that,
like the #1 Pizzagate guy.
Yeah, he was a big Pizzagate guy. And then he tried to do like a Richard Spencer neo-Nazi thing. And then that kind of fell out of favor. And then he became like a normie, like conservative, crazy guy. And now he's like back to being like, I'm with Heg. He's like the guy who gives Pete Hegseth advice on how to get as drunk as possible and rape.
Yeah. And he's also, I think he runs the End Wokeness account.
He does. Which, could you imagine, like, you're his wife and you're like, "Honey, like, I want to go out to fucking, Pizza Hut," because these people are low class. And Posobiec's like, "No, hold on. I'm like putting up a picture. I'm putting up a picture of a transgender 19-year-old that's about to get 10,000 retweets."
Yeah.
It's like, give me a break.
You don't fuck with Pizza Hut? I'm about to say,
I fuck with Pizza. I'm lactose intolerant, Arian. I'm lactose intolerant. So
my #1 national chain.
If I have my choice, I fuck around. Like if it's a national chain and it's not like, what I'm saying, New York, if not in New York or something like that, I'm gonna get Pizza Hut. Stuffed crust.
What's your order?
Stuffed crust, meat lovers.
Awesome. Yeah, stuffed crust.
Okay.
Good order.
You know whose pizza is the closest to Pizza Hut? Costco.
Is it really?
In my opinion.
So Big T, you said something fascinating to me a second ago. You said Pizza Hut was your #1 ranked national chain.
Pizza chain.
Okay.
Not chain in
So you have it
Okay.
over Domino's.
Yeah.
I like Domino's. I do like a nice stuffed crust, but Domino's, they
You're
got
wrong
the
on that,
season.
PFT. It's Domino's is cheap, but it's not good.
They've redone their whole shit though. They streamlined everything.
Really?
They became a technology company. They did. They
It's
built
better
this
than
app.
it used to be.
Yeah.
I haven't had Domino's maybe since like 2015.
They did a whole ad campaign about how we acknowledge that our pizza is shitty, so we're changing everything. And it's fine. It's fine.
Which is
I loved Round Table as a
good.
kid because it was an experience. Like you go there was you play Rampage and like, the pizza was good, but then. And then later, the Round Table on Van Ness in San Francisco, I used to do a lot of methamphetamine in there, in the bathroom, of course. But I would say the cheapest and like the easiest for when you're broke is Domino's, but Pizza Hut seems to be like the most, I would say, consistent, like as like a chain. I got to agree with Big T and Arian on this. You're frankly wrong, PFT.
Well,
but it's okay.
The thing is, you said these are low class people. I kind of like low class shit.
Yeah, I know, but like, yes, me too.
Slumming
it's
is
not like
fun.
I'm going to fucking, I don't even know where they have fancy pizza, but like, it just seems like
there fancy
these are
pizza?
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Where-
But it's like pizza that it's like a piece of basil and then there's like a dollop of mozzarella
Yeah,
on it.
that's
You know what I'm
it.
saying?
And they don't even got cheese on it. It's got like blotches of
Pear.
Yeah, it's got they put the
Gouda.
ricotta on the crust
yeah,
with like one of those
yeah,
cake
yeah.
icers.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah, that shit ass.
Mhm.
I went to Hot Pot last night and it
Yo.
reminded me that dude,
Hot Pot.
fucking Hot Pot, but that's where like I feel like that's where East meets West, where like the Chinese people let you have some of their more fucked up foods, and so they're like, we'll put this on the white boy menu tonight, goat brain, and
That's some wild shit on the menu, right? Like,
Yeah.
bro, like I was out, like they got chicken feet on that bitch. They got pig brain. They got
Mhm.
like blood, like little lumps of blood, weird ass shit. Like I ain't gonna lie, like not to my pot. I just be getting the regular. They got Wagyu too. I
yeah,
just be cooking the Wagyu.
yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Mhm.
Wagyu.
I know,
udon
but because
noodles.
you think chicken feet's gonna be good because it's fucked up sounding, and you have it, you're like this tastes exactly like I thought chicken feet would taste like.
Exactly how they look is how it tastes.
Yeah.
It's so ass, dog. But hot pot.
Well,
Sorry,
so
go
we
ahead.
got Jack Posobiec.
Yep.
Again, this fucking freak. We got Mike Cernovich, who was he's kind of famous for having a lisp, but he was sort of what you might describe as like a pro date rape activist back in 2050. He was like a red pill guy who's like now become like just a conservative guy. You have the Libs of TikTok lady who I love. I think she's beautiful, unmarried, which I find very interesting considering she is Orthodox Jewish and most of those women get married when they're very young. So there must be something wrong with her. But that, you know what? Sometimes we shine brightest in our flaws, and she must be deeply flawed because she has never had a man and she is getting older. And, you know, the Dr. Death is knocking at that door pretty soon. But I'm sure things will work out for her. And then you had this guy, Scott Pressler, who's kind of like a gay elf on the Republican side. He's tall and thin and has sort of long hair in a Fabio style, but without the body, which I find interesting.
Mhm.
And then who else was there? Oh, there's a woman who I can't mention because she tanked my iTunes reviews of my podcast to 0 the last time we mentioned her on the podcast. And there was like a couple of, and a guy named Chad Prath, who I'd never heard of, but I love, country musician with 3,000 plays a song on YouTube, which I'm assured is very good. But these guys all came out of the White House and they're holding these binders that say Epstein files, like, you know,
Phase
one.
Phase one.
And in those files was literally nothing at all. There was the black book, but with all the phone numbers and email addresses redacted, which is no fun. And so like a more censored version of what's out there. And yeah, the government's not going to put out people's email addresses and phone numbers. I'm not saying that they should. But you also have a list of masseuses, which I don't know what that means. I mean, Epstein did portray on his bills a lot of the girls that he molested as people giving him massages, but he also had a lot of legitimate masseuses. So I don't know. All the names are blacked out, so it's just several pages of fully blacked out names. And then an evidence list, which I don't remember seeing before, but there's nothing really in it. And then a what do you call it? A bunch of the flight logs, which are like literally have been out for years and years and years and years.
Mhm.
And it's also not a complete bunch of the flight logs. So it's just like once it is a disaster because you have like this group of right-wing pro-government influencers summoned to the White House, giving these documents, and then they're parading them smiling, like, you know, hanging out, you know, reveling in their access. And that created like a MAGA civil war with one of the most beautiful women probably to ever been born. I've only been alive for 35 years,
Yeah.
but I've Googled pretty much every kind of woman there can be. So I've seen, I think, throughout the range of history,
Yes.
including I'm saying ugly cave woman and hot cave woman and medium cave woman. I've looked at all of them like throughout history. And, you know, I got to tell you, Laura Loomer, no one's doing it like her.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she freaked out. She was very upset. Was she invited?
She wasn't invited. The rumors are, and I'm going to tell you this because, you know, I got a line to DC, but I did hear this from several people that are like real journalists. The rumors are that she did suck Donald Trump's penis.
Yo.
Yeah,
It's a rumor.
Is
Allegedly.
it really?
It's a
Like,
rumor.
for real?
It really is a rumor. And like, I'm not going to say it's like 100%. Like, I'm not going to say I believe it 100%, but I'm not ruling it out.
I would not rule it out. She's been.
And I wouldn't rule it out for me either. Like I was thinking about it. I was like, damn, I would try it, not like, it must be crazy.
Yeah.
In some way, good or bad.
She's nuts. She's been nuts for a long time. She's had so many like public freakouts. Like she's gone through mental health crisis online probably 5 or 6 times, like very publicly. But now it feels like she's bigger than she's ever been. And so she was pissed off. She was like, I don't give a fuck. You should start with telling the truth. This is absurd. Everyone is laughing at the administration today. Who on earth thought this was a good idea? I think she was asking Pam Bondi to resign. I think she's put the call. That also might just be jealousy. She might be upset that Pam is working out of the Oval Office. And then your girl Anna Paulina Luna, she said, this is not what we or the American people asked for. Get us the information that we asked for instead of leaking old info to the press. So what do you think? What do you think happened here? Do you think that Pam Bondi knew that there was nothing new in these reports and she just was excited about the opportunity to make a publicity splash? Like from a PR standpoint, you give them to a bunch of people with followers. They hold the binders up. The binders look like they're very important. They contain some big information. And then you hope that just goes across Trump's desk and he's like, Pam did a great job. Look, everyone's talking about this.
I think that I want to preface this by saying I genuinely think that Pam Bondi is stupid. I don't think she it's hard because you don't want to think that somebody who was like Attorney General of Florida for such a long time and now Attorney General of the entire country is just like dumb. But I think that Bondi is just in over her head. And I think that if you are the Attorney General of the United States and you're given a list of files that's like 150 pages and you're told that these are the entirety of the files from like a 20-year investigation and you go ahead with it, I think, and present that as like groundbreaking stuff, I do think that you are stupid, at least in that way. And so she, I think, was banking on this being like a publicity stunt, like an easy win. It'll impress Trump. It'll impress the base. And it just completely backfired on her because I don't think that she really knew what she was getting into. Now, in the lead up to all of this, there have been all these sort of like rumors on the right wing that the Southern District of New York, which prosecuted Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell in 2019 and then 2021, I guess, respectively, that they had been burning files and like deleting stuff and trying to stymie investigations. And like it wasn't directly linked to Epstein, but then it became sort of linked to Epstein and sort of like the right-wing meme verse. And so once this stuff came out and it was a complete disaster, Laura Loomer led the charge, but everyone was rebelling against this. Like, you're lying to us. This isn't it. All this stuff is old news. The government's rhetoric shifted from like, look at these transparent things we're doing to the deep state is taking us down from inside the Southern District of New York. And the reality is there's probably tens of thousands of pages of documents. The evidence collected from Epstein's townhouse in New York include like buckets full of fucking hard drives and like CD cases with, girls' names on the CDs and guys' names on the CDs. We haven't seen any of that stuff. And obviously some of that stuff will be illegal for us to see. Mm-hmm. But it's just startling that she thought that this would solve like this would ameliorate anybody's curiosity. And so now she and Kash Patel, the, all-seeing eye at the head of the FBI, are sort of using this as an excuse to purge the FBI field office in New York and the Southern District of New York.
Got it. So to me, this sounds a lot like the Game of Thrones cinematic universe, where you've got George R.R. Martin, who is, he wrote the books. You saw the series that everybody loved until the last season, and he's been promising his audience, I'm going to finish these books, and then you'll get more content that you like. And instead, he does some other side projects, and the people who are almost more into his own lore than he is get pissed off at him, and they're like, "You're fucking up the whole story, George. Like, get your act together." And I feel like sometimes it's that way at the top of politics, where the base, they understand because their lore is ever changing and evolving online.
Yeah.
They're more in tune with each other. They know what the right things to say are, who the right people to implicate, who we're going to be going after, who's about to get arrested next. They are the ones that are almost more into the product than the people who were at the top, who got to the top through the votes of the people who are into the lore. So they try to do something that will amuse their audience or engage their audience.
Yeah.
And it becomes a flop. And it's because they don't truly understand how deep into the canon these people are online that are propping them up. And I feel like that might have happened with Pam Bondi.
Yeah, like she was trying to like Pam Bondi is like trying to think of another way to explain this too. It's like imagine Jeffrey Epstein as Baby Yoda, right?
Okay.
The little fella.
Yeah, little guy.
And Pam Bondi is the whoever does Star Wars now. And Pam Bondi's like, dude, what if Baby Yoda was just the center of the Star Wars movies from now on? The fans would go crazy because she would understand. She thinks how everyone loves Baby Yoda, but people actually want to see the old Yoda and Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader do all their crazy things together. But now people are mad because she just put another guy in there. That's what it feels like. It's like she's trying to do fan service.
Yes.
But the fans rebelled because they've moved so far past all of the like stuff that's been out for years. And again, I think a lot of it's jealousy. The reality though is like if you take an objective, stand back look at this, you're like, that's crazy that the government invited a bunch of like, and these aren't journalists, they're just like influencers, like a bunch of pro-government influencers to the White House and disseminated these like binders full of bullshit to them in the hopes that they would fucking fool their audiences by pretending this was, and they also had all of the people who were summoned there, they had them tweet like in a spawn con ass way, this is the most transparent administration in history. They all said it in their tweets. And then had to spend the rest of the day backtracking. And so it was just a complete disaster. However, I kind of wonder if this will lead to, because then Pam Bondi says, oh, the next day I want all the Epstein files on my desk by 8 a.m. And she says she has the files now. And so we'll see if they get released. And I would love it if this like tied up. I would love to see the files, but it might actually this bungle might actually end up in a bunch of Epstein stuff getting released.
Yeah. So she said, I think Cash said it too, that they had a couple trucks that pulled up with a bunch of files that they're going to be going through. I don't know how much of that is real, how much of the files are things that we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
So what is real, Brace? Because I was trying to talk about this on Tuesday's episode, but I don't know, like, it. I know that when the raid on the townhouse occurred in New York, there were some files, some things that got removed, collected as evidence, and there were some things that mysteriously disappeared before the FBI could return to the house to collect the evidence. So what do we think that they have in their possession, and then what went missing?
So something that like the law enforcement's supposed to do when they like collect evidence is like maintain a chain of custody, right? Like you always kind of have that shit like in somebody's site, checked off on a form in a place that's secure for the entire time from when it gets taken or when it's like found to when it is put in court in a case or used as evidence. Epstein, there was a raid on Epstein's townhouse, and my memory is maybe a little rusty here, but the basic facts of it are that like the NYPD, FBI left for a while, and in that period of time, Epstein's lawyers came to the house and maybe took some stuff out of the safes. In fact, they're almost positive that stuff was taken out of the safes. And then the FBI came back and took a bunch of stuff. And so like, there's like a chain of custody there that's broken very early on in the chain. And it's not only just broken in like, cause sometimes things go missing. Sometimes, I don't know, maybe there's a crooked cop or like, FBI agent. But in this case, like, it seems like his lawyers were basically granted access to do something to that house and to, I don't know, maybe move some stuff, maybe delete some stuff, maybe just take some stuff out of the house entirely. And it seems very clear that's what they did. And so, because of all of this, like it's astounding that, even so many years later, we don't really know what Epstein did for a living. You know, like he was very rich, and we know that like he helped like Leon Black and and Leslie Wexner and these people with their taxes. But like, I'm sorry, being the accountant to like a few private equity guys does not give you that fucking townhouse or the private island. Like he's as rich, or if not richer, than a lot of people who are like the titans of business that he's supposed to be helping. And so, um, there's a lot of mysteries still there. I mean, one of those too is like, we've heard from witnesses, I've spoken to witnesses who've said that his townhouse was wired up with a security system, an internal security system, and obviously, the cameras on the outside, but also on the inside. Um, what's on those tapes? What does it show? Like, are they in the bedrooms? We don't know. And there's been complete like opacity from the government on a lot of this stuff since the get-go. I mean, Ghislaine was tried, and the trial was very limited. They tried not to bring too much extraneous stuff into it. And because of that, it's almost like we learned a little bit, but we didn't learn that much. And there's so many questions. Like, why was the former prime minister of Israel, Ehud Barak, over there like 100 times? I mean, by his own estimations, 100 times. He's hiding his face when he was leaving. What was so entrancing about Jeffrey Epstein's house that this guy had to visit him? And I think we probably know the answer to that. But it's really
there could be a couple answers to that.
Yeah,
that specific question for that guy, because I've read a bunch of stuff online. I've watched a lot of interviews of people who have worked in intelligence before, and in the famous plea deal that he had, Acosta said that he was told to lay off him because he was connected to intelligence in some way, shape, or form. Do you think that Epstein was working with Mossad?
I would say likely yes. I mean, I have no, like, there's a lot of circumstantial evidence of this. I mean, Ghislaine Maxwell, his sort of partner in crime's father, has long been rumored and with a ton of evidence to have worked closely with Mossad, if not have been a member of Mossad himself, or even something sort of not even just a member of Mossad, but like some other kind of intelligence figure for Israel, but also a mafia figure worldwide. But Eastern European mafias and Israeli intelligence and state institutions have a lot of interlinks, no matter how you put it. And so, I mean, that could just be an astounding coincidence, right? It could be a crazy coincidence that this guy, Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine's father, was like this like storied sort of intelligence agent, rumored to have been murdered himself by Israel after trying to blackmail them. And her daughter just goes ahead and becomes somehow the boyfriend, or excuse me, the girlfriend of a guy who is, long-standing rumors of blackmail and government, let's say maybe some contracting going on there. I mean, it could just be that's the kind of guy she likes, but I don't think so. And it doesn't really ring true to me. I mean, I think that there's, without a shadow of a doubt, Epstein has some connections with Israel, whether they're official ones or unofficial ones, whatever's going on there. Mossad itself might be a red herring. It could be some other agency within Israel, which there are several other intelligence agencies there. It could be, sort of a freelance thing. We don't know. But a lot of the circumstantial evidence points that way, including what you said, like Alex Acosta, but also Ehud Barak, visiting him, former Israeli spy master and also prime minister. And it seems to me that there's a lot of smoke, but we've been prevented from seeing the fire. And I don't think that we will. I don't think that the government is going to come out and be like, this guy was giving, blackmail tapes to Mossad.
Right. I don't think that we would. And the thing is, like, we spy on countries that we're friends with. Other countries spy on us, even if we have an understanding. Like Mossad, they definitely have intelligence agents that work in the United States. Like their intelligence service is, I think the I don't know if you want to say best, the most industrious in the world.
Pretty good.
They're pretty good. They have some, that fucking beeper pager operation and the walkie-talkie operation. Like they got years of planning and shit in there. They get results one way or the other. So yeah, it's very strange. I don't think that I've resigned myself to just understand that we're never going to know everything. We're never, and even if we do find out most of the things, there's going to be a lot of stuff that leaves you wanting more. And I don't know that we're going to, it would be nice to see the files that they took from his office in New York. That would be good to see.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything? Because like going down these rabbit holes, you could get extremely lost, and it gets really weird. I found myself on a really weird part of Twitter, like it felt like 4chan. There was this girl. What is his name? What is her name? Jessica Kraus. She was wearing a shirt that said "Free Ghislaine." I don't know how to pronounce her name.
Yeah, Ghislaine.
Ghislaine.
Yeah.
Okay, Ghislaine. Yeah. Why? Like, I didn't want to even get into the reasons as to why she had that shirt on, but apparently Trump hosted her at Mar-a-Lago, and so like I was just curious, like, what would be the justification of wearing that shirt? I try to at least hear it from somebody's perspective before I judge. What would be the justification of wearing that shirt?
Well, I got to be careful with my words here because this
free speech, America's back.
No, my brother. This I have free spoken this woman's name before on my podcast, and our iTunes reviews did not do well after she posted on her Instagram story. She got 1 million followers, but she is she was an RFK. I met her at the Ghislaine trial. We have a difference of opinion on many things.
Okay.
He is a big fan of RFK Jr. and takes credit for, connecting him with Trump. I don't know what the truth of that is, but she is a big Free Ghislaine person for reasons that I cannot fathom. She, I believe also there's some links with Milo Yiannopoulos and Kanye West in there as well. And she is an interesting lady. I do think it is very interesting that you're right. I didn't even consider that. Trump did host a Free Ghislaine, the number one and possibly only Free Ghislaine activist in the United States for the release of the Epstein files. It's very strange to me. I can't understand. I think she has I'm going to be honest with you. I think a lot of that stuff on that blog is just made up. All that she has a blog, and oftentimes I've read it and I've been a little hesitant to take some of the things in the interviews in there as factual. But I think it's like a clout thing. Like it's like it's like when you kind of just say shit to like get attention. That seems to be in line with that. You'd think though that the government would do a little bit more vetting before letting a Free Ghislaine person into the Epstein files release, but what do I know?
As content creators, we can all appreciate the act of finding a gap in the marketplace of ideas and then cornering that gap. And
well, dude, Candace Owens, who I love, she is Arian, forgive me, my Nubian queen. She is. I think she is a delightful looking woman. Her politics leave a little something to be desired.
I think she's beautiful.
I think she's fucking beautiful.
Wild thoughts.
Not a big fan of the Jews, I've noticed.
Yeah, she started to. Hey, yo, I meant to bring this up last podcast up. Yo, she's on a totally different shit right now. I don't know if you heard this, 50. She is currently trying to prove that who's the French president?
Emmanuel Macron.
Yes, that his wife is his dad.
Oh shit.
Bro, I'm not even
You
joking.
haven't seen this?
Bro,
I think I've seen the results, the downstream results of this discourse she's putting out, because I've noticed more and more pictures of Emmanuel Macron and his wife in homelier looking photos. And so I assume that's all
quadrupling down. Like she is not, but she had a whole series. I'm not watching that shit, but she has like episodes and episodes about how she has evidence upon evidence about how this woman is his dad. And I'm gonna wait till the facts clear before I lend that any credence.
That's reverse Oedipus.
I just gotta tell you, Emmanuel Macron. I know you are. I know he's a stoolie. I don't know if he listens to Macrodosing.
Macron. That's why we named ourselves. Yeah, it's actually Macrodosing.
Macrodosing.
If you are listening to this, be careful of these fucking snow bunnies. It might be your father, because I'm gonna tell you, Be careful of these fucking snow bunnies. She's your ancient wife. So Emmanuel Macron's wife is significantly older than Emmanuel Macron. And met him when he was, I believe, her high school student. Candace's theory is that Brigitte Macron is, at first her theory was that Brigitte Macron had taken on the identity of her dead brother and had transitioned to become, or wait, no, Brigitte Macron was the brother and her sister died, or his sister died, and then Brigitte Macron took on the identity of the sister, which was Brigitte, and became Brigitte Macron, and then groomed Emmanuel Macron to be her concubine. Now, I believe you're right. She's like, actually, fuck that. Brigitte Macron is Emmanuel Macron's dad. He's now transgender.
And it's crazy because, like, I'm not in that stratosphere, right? It's a whole different world. I try not to fall down that pipe. But it had been a while since I heard anything about Candace Owens. And somebody had said, I had heard somebody that that the Daily Wire let go of her. And I was like, what happened there? What's the infighting about, ladies? And so I was like, yeah, what's going on with Candace? And then I check her timeline. It's full of like the French president's wife is his dad. I was like, hey, yes. Oh my God, dog.
Well, she's moved on a little. She's moved on a little bit from like now she was at one point getting into some pretty obscure anti-Semitic theories.
Yeah.
Which and now she's thankfully moved on to Brigitte. But I love her. Her new thing though, get a load of this. She's Weinstein innocent. Is her new thing.
Man.
So that's cornering the market.
Delay.
I understand where she's the number one Harvey Weinstein defender.
Exactly. So I'm like,
holy shit.
This is like, there's some gaps in the market for macrodosing here.
There are. I think we're a Michael Jackson innocent podcast.
Wait, hold on. There's evidence
Arian
behind
is.
that. There's
Arian
evidence.
is.
There's evidence behind this. Now we will never know. Oh, you don't know this side of me. All right, look, I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
No,
So
give it to me.
I watched Leaving Neverland, that documentary, HBO documentary, right? And I grew up thinking Mike did that shit, right? It was just kind of like that nigga nasty. But hey, that's Mike. It is what it is. Like, still makes great music. But I never looked into it. I was too young to understand what was going on. But the rumors were there, so I was like, whatever, it is what it is. And so I watched the documentary, and at the time, my son was into dance, and he was like dancing to all of Michael Jackson's songs, right? Which never bothered me because I was like, it's Mike.
Yeah.
So I watched. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna watch the documentary. And after watching it, I was like sick. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, you hear the rumors, but when you see it, it just turns your stomach. It's disgusting. And then now I'm like, yo, my son's dancing to this Jones. So anyway, so I'm like, I gotta finish up. I gotta watch part 2. Watch part 2, and I was like, something ain't sitting right with me. You ever get the feeling that you're being lied to? It just got that feeling. I still thought he was guilty. But I was like, something ain't sitting right with me, right? And so I just get to digging, right? And then one thing leads me to another, and I spent like 3 months. I read depositions. I did the whole nine. Every single accusation, right? So growing up, you would think like hundreds of kids were accusing him of it. It's not true. There was 2, right? And then when he died, there was 2 more, right? And so that's a lot for anybody. Don't get me wrong, right? But when you dig into the cases, every single one, the evidence is so. It's why if I was to tell you, Brace, if I was like, yo, bro, I got 10 federal counts against me and 14 misdemeanors, you would be like, you're going to jail. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, right? He beat all that shit. And it was like, it was to the point where like the jury was laughing at the evidence in court. And this was for the second conviction. The first one, they changed the laws because of the Michael Jackson case, right? So originally, you could sue in civil court and then try a criminal case. Because of the Michael Jackson case, you have to do the criminal first and then do the civil lawsuit. Because what ended up happening was they were like, okay, we're going to defend this. Michael's like, I didn't do it. We're going to defend this, but they were getting sued civilly, right? And I can go into like super detail, but I'm just giving you the basic rundown. And he was like, we're going to defend this. So, but if you're going to defend it, like the state would have access to all that evidence that you would defend yourself against the civil case, right? So they were like, let's just settle right? And then let's prove our innocence in criminal court, right? So they settled with no admission of wrongdoing. And then after the civil case, right? If my son was to happen to my son, right? I don't give a fuck about the civil. We can do the civil, that's fine, but I'm gonna make sure this motherfucker goes to jail.
Criminal case.
Yeah. After they won the civil, both parents refused to go to criminal court. And not only that, the kid, right, files for emancipation from his parents.
Wow.
And
no matter which way that went down, he should have done that.
in fact, but the more you dig into it, and like that when you look at the actual evidence, it gets deeper and deeper. Like, yo, it was a pure money grab. And the second one was even worse than that one. Like the evidence just is lacking. It's lacking. But like I said,
well, I remember they pulled the documentary like after it came out and then put it back on. Do you remember that?
The judge threw those dudes' cases out. What they didn't mention in that case was they were suing the Michael Jackson estate for $1 billion. And the judge threw it out.
And just to think, if he won that case, Big T wouldn't even have to be here right now.
You just be traveling the country, going to every Tennessee game. Yeah. Road trips, RV life. Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, listen, PFT's a CeeLo Green truther.
What's this?
I think he's fucking awesome. Yeah, I think he's got a great voice. I actually like
criminally underrated.
I like CeeLo Green before he was a solo artist.
Ooh, what group was he in?
Was he in?
Was he in? Was it? I'm gonna screw it up. Mobb Deep.
Goody Mob. I mean,
Goody Mob. Yeah, CeeLo Green and Goody Mob.
Two different eras. No, around the same era, but two different.
It has the word mob in it. It's close enough.
Areas. Mobb Deep, East Coast. Goody Mob, down south.
I don't like when people wear glasses that are too big.
Yeah, it's a red flag.
What are you looking at?
Do you think that Stevie Wonder was blonde?
Was blonde?
Blind.
Oh, no, dude. I think he could see some shit.
Yeah, I
shadows.
think
he can see shadows.
He said, "What's up, Shaq?"
I think, yeah.
Yeah, I saw Shaq and he goes, "What's up, Shaq?" He's waved at people.
He said, "What's up?" Maybe he could hear Shaq though, because a lot of people tell me, that like blind people develop super senses otherwise. So like possibly obviously he could be psychic, but disregarding that, he could also maybe like detect like the footfalls of Shaq, which are probably pretty like thunderous. You know what I mean? Like if Stevie can like sense like a glass of water shaking.
Yeah.
Because Shaq is approaching.
Or he might use echolocation. And he
he
just
could.
sings real high pitch. Isn't she lovely?
Or
it bounces off.
Maybe Shaq has a certain musk to him. You know what I'm saying?
Sure he
like
has musk,
size 22. When that hits the floor, plunk, plunk, it's probably a different.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Because I sneak up on blind people all the time because I have size 4 feet. I'm like normal height and stuff. I got size 4s, and so I just go kind of rob them all the time because they can't really see nothing, and it's kind of like they don't know. I mean. Blind people you can just be like, oh yeah, it's a 20, it's a 50. Like you can just say whatever to them. And so like,
that's why Ray Charles was fighting his manager.
But it's crazy. Why are there so many blind like blues guys? How come there's no blind white musicians?
So that was my theory. And it's not my theory. A lot of people have said this about Stevie, that maybe he's not totally blind, but I think personally a lot has to do with the fact that there were a lot of black musicians that were blind that, all came to prominence in like the 30s, 40s, 50s.
Yeah.
And Stevie, I think, might be very visually impaired. And as he was making his name as a musician, a manager or somebody was like, we really got to lean into this blind thing because that's a gold mine.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list of like 20 famous blind musicians right now. Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, Andrea Bocelli. Okay, he's white. Mm-hmm. Well, Italian. Jose Feliciano, he's blind?
I didn't know he was blind.
I didn't know that.
What the fuck?
Is he really?
He's been blind since birth.
What? That is news to me, dog. Jose Feliciano?
Ginny Owens, never heard of her. Ronnie Lee Millsap, okay, country singer. Blind Lemon Jefferson, he's a brother. Gilbert Montaigne, oh, this guy is white as hell. I've never heard, he's French.
Yeah, maybe Cajun.
Blind Blake, Al Hibbler, but most of these are like, black blues musicians,
Mhm.
Sonny Terry and M. Okay, now we're getting into India. Where they're like, all
It was
right,
like,
we gotta
yeah,
figure out
it was
some-
like a subgenre.
yeah, of blind guys.
Yeah.
What about a deaf musician, huh?
Beethoven.
Beethoven was deaf.
Beethoven. Yeah, Beethoven. How about what's the other? A mute musician? I guess you could probably do that pretty easy. That's not really that
Somebody
hard.
that can't
You could
talk.
just- you could play guitar or something. Yeah.
Dude, are there any people who
and
are
there's a-
who are mute that can hear, or is it always a combination of deaf and mute?
No, there are a lot of people who are mute that can hear.
Oh, okay. Mad Dog,
Yeah.
sounds like you might know somebody.
No, but like a lot of times people with autism are like selectively mute and they
True.
can hear.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't want to talk to you.
You probably just don't encounter them much because they probably don't have many mute people working in podcasts.
That's true. we don't run the same circles. They're great listeners. We probably have a bunch of them that listen to the show.
Shout out to mute people.
Yeah.
Because I've always said that a true gangster moves in silence. But that actually isn't true because the actual reality, people say that, and sometimes I even say that, but the reality is the true gangster is incredibly loud because, first of all, he's holding two badass submachine guns that are clicking and clanking
What
around.
era gangster are you talking
And
about?
well, also his pockets are full of fucking coins, and so he's moving. The true gangster has about 50 quarters in each pocket at all times.
Yeah, the suits are loud.
And loud
Yeah,
suits, of course.
thick ass
Yeah.
pinstripes.
Yeah,
Brace,
we got to do something about a lot of conservative people I've noticed, and I am conservative, obviously. So this is all from love.
horseshoe theory. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just no. PFT, since the election,
Mhm.
I am conservative now. I'm joining the winning
Did the
team.
pivot?
Bitcoin Reserve. We're doing it.
Mhm.
Everything's gonna go great.
Love that.
They wear a suit, but then they'll also wear a vest. The vest, and they'll be wearing this tight vest. So one of the people that got the Epstein files is this guy named Rogan O'Handley. Rogan O'Handley, also known as DC Drano, is the ex-boyfriend of Ashley St. Clair, who recently had a baby with Elon Musk. That guy, when he's out the White House and he's coming out, he's holding the files. He's wearing this vest.
Yeah.
And like his suit and his vest, and everyone else is kind of just wearing like normal clothes. And it's like, my brother, I get that you're going to the White House. You're not going to the White House in the wild, wild west. Okay. You don't need the suit. You don't need the pocket watch. You don't need the little cravat, the ascot. You know, you're a guy who goes by DC Drano and you post like pro Elon Musk memes. You post memes of a guy who fucked your ex-girlfriend and had a baby with her when you could not because your fucking nuts are sour. And so, you know, you shouldn't be wearing a cloak of mourning.
That is weird.
These
That is
people are
weird that
crazy.
he's such a big Elon Musk guy, knowing what we know now.
Could you imagine being like, yeah, I love the guy who's just fucking my ex-girlfriend and having a baby with her.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a
obviously,
man that's
we're all
committed to the
adults.
country, Brace. That's a man that's willing to put country over any personal feelings he might have.
Do you think, Aaron, I'm interested to hear what you think about, do you think what Elon's doing is it cool?
No, I don't. No,
Because you're a father.
Brace. Wait, what part?
The part where he's having like a bunch of different kids with different women.
Hey, we listen and we don't judge. You know what I mean? Hey, play the fuck up. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I have made many mistakes. Not as many as Elon, but hey, man, I'm in all my children's lives.
Brace, do you think that he is having these babies naturally through natural conception, or is he mailing his sperm out? Because that's something that Epstein, he had like a big fantasy, right, of starting like an army of child soldiers that were born from his sperm.
Well, I know that
His thing is like human population. Is it like he believes that we should procreate to the max because he thinks that we are like struggling population wise? Like we need to have more
yes. Although, I mean, no disrespect by this, and these obviously aren't my beliefs. I don't necessarily if I would include you and we.
What you mean?
I think he thinks the white man is dying out, and he's like, "There's too many blacks and Asians."
I would disagree with
but
that
yeah,
statement.
yeah, he's like, there's he thinks. I mean, and he won't say it outright, but like, you can kind of tell by the way, like he always talks about like third world immigration explosion, right? So like there's too many people in Africa, there's too many people in India, there's too many people in China, but at the same time, Western Europe and the US, but particularly the white demographic in the US, are not having enough kids. And so he's like trying to create these sort of super babies. Although I will say one of his ex-wives, who unfortunately has me blocked on Twitter, just for a little light harassment, not even sexual, Siobhan Zillis is half Indian, so he does have a half Indian. He has a quarter Indian kids, 4 of them, including the newest announced one as of last week, Selden Lycurgus. But he is doing exactly the Epstein thing. Because Epstein had this like plan in New Mexico where he was like, I'm going to do a sperm bank basically, and I'm going to invite beautiful, intelligent women. I'm going to inseminate them, and we're going to repopulate the earth, which I'm like, I didn't know the earth was being depopulated.
Yeah.
I didn't know that we were going down. And Musk says essentially the same thing, except sometimes he brings Mars into it. And some of these are natty. But I'm going to be real with you, PFT, and I don't know if you want to hear this, and I can't unfortunately say everything I know. Some of these are naughty.
You think so?
No, I know so.
You know so.
Some of these
like turkey baster.
From penis and vagina.
Oh shit.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
So Elon, can you imagine Elon? I want everybody right now, well, except for you guys that I'm talking to imagine Elon Musk's like face when he's doing, oh, yeah. Like going, he's like
Elon's
huffing and
moans.
puffing.
I think
He's like,
Elon would be the kind of guy who he would nut super fast. Like I'm talking maybe 2 seconds, and he'd be like, "That's actually the most efficient way that you can ejaculate because it allows you to move on to your next mate." And in caveman days, if you could ejaculate faster, you could populate the earth faster.
okay, but this is confusing.
It
To
kinda
me.
sounds
Otherwise,
like-
I've always been told
a predator would catch you in the act of coitus, and you could be hunted by a saber-toothed tiger unless you ejaculated immediately.
Hey, if you stutter a few more
Sometimes-
times, yeah, you got that shit down.
I think you could do. I
got
think
that
you
shit
could
down.
do
I'll work
it.
on
I
it.
think you could do it. Yeah, I'm guessing.
Right
too.
now,
I mean,
you just sound like
obviously, I've
Adrian
heard.
Dittman. You don't sound like Elon.
Yeah, I'm close.
Yes. I think that Elon. I mean, I guarantee also he's like taking some shit that is doing some shit to his nuts in a crazy way. He's also got the robot dick.
What's the robot dick?
Oh man, you know what a French tickler is?
I do not know what French tickler is.
I don't really either, but it's like a condom that like has some bumps on it, I think. But I heard a long time ago, I've heard this from 2 different sources, and these are real sources, that Elon has something's up with his dick. And later not later, for one of them, it was later, but I inquired further, and I've learned from 2 sources who don't know each other, who got this information independently on their own, if you can guess how that happened, that he has a robot dick.
So he has something installed. Now, the gentlemanly thing to do would be to have almost like a little proboscis installed above your penis so that you clitoral stimulation and penetration. I feel like that's not where his mind went.
No. I think I'm guessing at this point. I've talked to a lot of people. I talked to a guy who has a robot penis. He's the inventor of something called the Lovetron 9000, which is a series of beads that are implanted subdermally along the shaft of the wiener, and powered by an external battery source, and vibrate in some way. I spoke to him on the phone at great length, inquiring about how this would go down. And he said that the primary obstacle from production of these things is batteries. But what does Elon have?
Lithium.
Access to lithium, a lot of batteries. Why do you think he needs that lithium? Because he needs that robot penis to keep going. But I heard this from 2 people one of who fucked him, and one of whom who talked to somebody who was with him for a long time. And he's got a robot penis, some kind, and whether it's like an exoskeleton or it's like a, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like something you sort of like a scaffolding you put on top of it, or it's a sub I guess cutaneous implantation. I don't know, but I think that I've also heard that outside of, and I've heard this from like real, actual, genuine, straight up reporters, that there is a baby farm outside of Austin that he has many more babies at. So we're up to the official count is 14, but there's more.
A baby farm.
And-
If I had to guess where a baby farm would be in Austin, we're thinking maybe southeast Austin. Do you know?
I don't know enough about Austin. I've been to Austin. Every time I go there, it looks completely different. So I have
That's
no idea.
facts. Every time you go,
Yeah.
something changes, dog. And nobody that's from
Dude, it's-
there wants you there.
Yes, it's crazy. It's like last time I was there, I was looking out upon the vast vista from my hotel
That's
room,
poetic.
and thank you. It was I was gooning, so it was day 2 of a gooning situation. I'd opened the blinds and I looked at it, I was like, I've genuinely never seen so many cranes in my life, and I'm like, I cannot wait for more B2B SaaS and crypto exchange companies to come to this fucking town right now.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be Silicon Valley in 30 years.
Absolutely, yeah.
And a bunch of companies that do software as a service, but they exist to serve like one larger company, and
Yes.
they just keep going at it in hopes that one day they'll get acquired, and they always do get acquired. It always works out
Yeah.
for them. I used to live in Austin for like 9 years. The first place I worked there was a dog adoption place. And I always say that I was selling used dogs. I would just show up outside the PetSmart or a grocery store, and I'd have like a van filled with these dogs. It was a shitty organization that the guy just one day he left, and I think he moved to Mexico in the middle of the night, and so he just abandoned this entire thing. And there were probably 200 dogs there that we had to figure out what to do with these fucking dogs after this guy left. But I'm thinking the old site for that, the kennels, all that stuff. We had a small medical area for the vet. That feels like a perfect compound for Elon's potential child farm. And it's not too far away from the Tesla factory there. So I'm going to look into that because he might have just taken over my old kennels and I was just nutting it.
That could be true. It's, Screaming Jay Hawkins, who I love, I like genuinely like one of the best early rock and roll musicians. There's a website when I was younger. It was actually one of the first websites I ever heard about called Jay's Kids, where if you're one of the kids that he had on tour with like a groupie who he never talked to again because he just, left town that night, you could sign up and go to the family reunion. And he had something like 40 kids.
Wow.
And I think that Musk is going to beat his record. I mean, the only people, so like, I think the guys with the most kids, I actually know, oh my God, I know a guy with like 55 kids. I know a dude who was a illegal sperm donor for lesbians in the 90s, and he has 56 kids because of it. Because you can only donate a certain amount of times. Yeah. And I think at that point it was kind of tricky if you were like a lesbo to like, because they were like, we don't fucking, there's too many moms or whatever. It was like, they had like legislation or whatever, like you couldn't adopt. And so he would, or not adopt, excuse me. Like it was harder for lesbians to get babies back then. I don't know. That's what he told me. And so he basically like donated his sperm to like 55, 56, maybe more. Jeez. And he's got something like 55 kids out there.
Wow.
And he's like friends with a lot of them. And he found out, he went on our podcast and talked about it. And one of our listeners realized that he was his dad during that episode and got in touch with him.
Oh shit.
That's kind of lit.
So there are rules where it's like, sir, you've donated enough sperm. You can't donate anymore. Or he was just servicing a clientele that could not, that was being denied access to the sperm.
And he's not a weird, he's a weird guy, but he's not weird in that way. He was just like, I don't know, it was something to do.
What do you think the all-time record is? Do we have like a modern era, like GOAT?
Well, Genghis Khan, obviously.
Yeah.
Right?
We got bagpipes going?
We're missing the bagpipe show, yeah.
There's a bagpipe show out there?
The first I heard of it was the email we got 5 minutes ago, but it said the bagpipe show's fixing to start. So.
Okay, we got a bagpipe show here, Brace, if you're interested in that. Actually, Brace, I did have another Epstein-related question with you, because you're somebody that's studied this before Epstein killed himself, and when Epstein, or allegedly killed himself, before Epstein's death, I feel like his story was not nationally discussed like it is now. It wasn't an essential issue. And upon his death, it became more so a conservative issue to talk about Jeffrey Epstein. I feel like before his death, I heard more people on the left talking about Jeffrey Epstein than after. What do you think? Do you agree with that assessment that now more conservative people are talking about it? And if so, like, do you know why that happened?
I think I think that's generally correct. I think it became like a very partisan thing because of Bill Clinton's involvement, and the Democrats refused to sort of like push Bill Clinton out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And also, the thing is, like, a lot of this kind of came out in like 2016, not came out, but like it started getting a lot of attention in 2016 as well. And Hillary Clinton was running for president. And so it's like Chelsea Clinton went on a fucking yacht trip. There's a famous picture of Ghislaine Maxwell at Chelsea Clinton's wedding, but she also went on a yacht trip with Ghislaine Maxwell. Like, these people were really close. And the thing is, Trump, who I don't think, even if you like Trump, you're like, that guy's done some nasty shit to women, no doubt, right? Or even if like you're a voter of him. I mean, come on, look at the guy. Or just he's into modeling and stuff. You know, that industry is disgusting. But Trump was smart enough to break it off with him, probably on divergent strategies of rape, in the early 2000s. And so, you know,
he used to say like, that guy, he likes me young.
Yes, exactly. And dude, Eric, can you imagine if there was like a video of you and Jeffrey Epstein, like the one of fucking Trump, Jeffrey Epstein? How do you even defend that? You're like, oh yeah, we were talking about like golf or something. No, like, you're fucking like joking around with him while there's a bunch of chicks walking by.
This is the thing why I feel like they redacted a lot of shit, and they're gonna redact a lot of shit, because like,
yeah,
you said we don't know what he did, right? But he was a part of, I think a lot of his cover was like charity work, like philanthropy stuff.
Yeah.
And so that is tough, because it's like, what if under the guise of that, he used his influence and his power, whatever the case may be. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure that there were probably people that didn't have nefarious intentions. I mean, there had to be. I mean, or maybe there wasn't, but like, I would think that not everybody he shook hands with is a pedophile. You know what I mean? Like, it's that would be tough.
Yeah.
And so anybody he's ever associated with then becomes guilty. That's tough, dog. I don't. This is why.
I know, but the thing is, like, I don't like most of the people who's been associated with, so I'm like, the Stephen Hawking thing is crazy, because Stephen Hawking,
that's
friend
true.
of the show, so I don't, and a sponsor, he went to the island, and there's a picture of him in a submarine that they had specially outfitted to get his little freaky, no, I'm not gonna say what it was, but to get his little chair on there. And so the only time that Stephen Hawking's ever been able to go on a submarine, probably the dream of a guy like that, is because of Jeffrey Epstein's largesse. But yeah, no, I agree with that. Like, it kind of, Epstein becomes like a convenient way to like settle political scores. And so I think that like whatever stuff gets released will be like redacted to serve Trump, right? Like, to like be like, oh, he was friends with this Democrat, he's friends with this Democrat, he's friends with this Democrat. But like, he was bipartisan. Dude, Steve Bannon, who I love, but I love him because I really like kind of oafish fat guys.
Love everybody.
I don't like his politics. I love everybody. I love everybody, but I love Bannon because I love an oaf. And he is his politics I'm not familiar with, but I enjoy looking at him. But he was hired by Jeffrey Epstein in 2019 to do media training for Epstein, and took like 20 hours of interviews. And then when it came out that this happened, he hastily like reassembled like 2 minutes of interviews into like an anti-Democrat, like hard interview that he was doing against Epstein, and released a trailer for a documentary that like 4 years later has never come out. But like, one of Trump's like architects of his victory was Jeffrey Epstein's like last known employee. And that just makes no fucking, there's like just nothing about this on the right. You know, you can have, like, that's why I'm saying it's like, you can have Free Ghislaine and you can have Jeffrey Epstein's employee and one of his friends like be the people who are in charge of these disclosures. And it's like, okay, well, that's like the foxes are in charge of the hen house. You know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it seems like it's the man, if he was doing what we think that he was doing, which is getting blackmail on the most powerful people in the world, he'd probably amassed just as much on either side of the political aisle. I think that Bill Clinton I think you're right with that. Like Clinton is the big splashy name on there. But also
Yeah, probably.
like he's got contacts, like he was friends with Donald Trump. Although that one interview that you're saying, Arian, it was funny because it was Trump like firing a warning shot via the news media saying it's been said that Jeffrey Epstein likes them young, and it's no secret he certainly does. But he's saying it with like a smile on his face, but just knowing that Epstein will listen to that, and he's like, "Oh fuck, Donald's ready to explode on me any second."
And to me, that's the thing in general, because it's like you'll hear a lot of like the QAnon, the whole QAnon shit, like Trump's gonna expose the underring pedophile shit, right?
Mhm.
But it's like, yo, you a piece of shit if you do know and you ain't saying shit. You know what I mean? Like if you know and you ain't saying shit, like you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like you're guilty. You're implicit. And so it's like I don't know, man. I don't think anything's gonna come of this shit at all. Actually, I think
one guy that
Yeah.
Brace, I'm going to predict that this is another guy that you absolutely love because I
love
would
everybody.
understand why you
I
would
love
this
him.
guy.
I love him
I
already.
love it.
I love him.
Centrally
I love
implicated.
everybody.
I love him because you're keeping me on edge.
He
Yeah.
was Bill Clinton's, I think, personal attorney, and I believe he was also an attorney, or he's acted in support of Donald Trump. Alan Dershowitz.
Love the guy.
Yeah,
We can call him right now.
this is one guy that I don't know why does he still keep getting paid to go on the news to talk about stuff? I don't get it. Well, Alan Dershowitz, wasn't he Epstein's attorney?
He was Epstein's attorney, correct.
I-
He negotiated the plea deal with Alex Acosta in the 2000-2008 case, where a lot of these documents came out from.
Bro, let's set up an interview with him.
My biggest question, Brace. So you have his phone number, but he didn't seem to like know who you were.
Yeah, I've called him like 5 or 6 times.
But so how did you come in contact with him the first time?
I don't remember. I have like a lot of I have all the British cabinet's phone number. I have everybody's phone number. I just call people sometimes and see what they got to say. I think someone just gave me his number. I mean, he's like, obviously he picks up first ring. There was a while I was calling George Santos like every day, but before he blocked me.
He gives everybody his phone number.
He'll answer.
Yeah,
I know,
he
gives
just
everybody
likes
his
to
phone number.
talk.
But I'm
He's a
saying
people person.
I'll just call like if I'm given a person's phone number like that, not like everybody, but like a guy like that who's gonna pick up first ring and just start talking,
That's
hilarious. So Alan Dershowitz, it's interesting because he can say that the lawsuit against him was withdrawn by that was Virginia. What was her last name? Giuffre. Yes, but he also, if he was Epstein's attorney that negotiated the plea deal, you would think he would have had some insight into what was going on with Jeffrey Epstein and why he was able to get that plea deal.
Yeah, I mean, Dershowitz is tough, like he's right. That lawsuit was withdrawn. It didn't settle. It was part of, I think, a civil suit that she filed against him. And I think he countersued her at one point. And she eventually withdrew it and said that she mistook him for somebody else. I don't know. I mean, the thing with Virginia Giuffre is this stuff happened when she was a kid, and she's one of the main Epstein accusers.
Mm-hmm.
But what she said about Prince Andrew, for instance, did bear itself out.
The sweat.
And so the sweat and all that stuff. I mean, obviously he gave a very sweaty interview, denying that it happened, which God, that was incredible. But I think what Dershowitz is up against, and again, I'm objective here. I'm not accusing anyone of anything, especially you, Alan. But what Dershowitz is up against is the fact that this woman's memory was very correct in one case. But again, she wrote a fictionalized account of all of this happening, and a sort of a novel that she was working on, where she mentioned the name Al Gore. And now that was completely not true. And it's not, I don't think anyone's ever accused her of lying over it because she never said it was a factual thing. It was kind of like a fictionalized account of her crazy youth. And Dershowitz was, I think hangs a lot of his defense on, of course, her dropping the case. And, he's a very powerful lawyer, very connected lawyer. And I wouldn't want to go up against him, that's for sure. But he, I don't know. That has always been a big mystery to me as to why that was dropped.
Yeah. The other case I want to talk to you about, Brace, because when we hear Epstein, I feel there's a lot of people like looking back at the past and being like, this is what used to happen. This is how bad this was. I can't believe we allowed this to go on. This type of stuff probably still goes on to this day. If you think that people aren't courting famous, powerful people, rich people, celebrities, what have you, to do something illegal for blackmail information for later, it's still going on. So there is like a modern day version of Epstein, whatever version that might be. Do you think that might have been Diddy?
Man, listen. I saw nothing at those parties that I haven't seen at 1,000 other parties. No, I do. Yeah, Diddy was. I mean, listen. I think that I don't know if he was blackmailing people necessarily in the sense that Epstein was, but he was definitely like using. I mean, have you seen that picture of Cuba Gooding Jr.? I mean, like that one, I was like, damn, these guys were up to something so fucking crazy. I think he was like both operating like, in like a almost like organized criminal way, and also in an Epstein way. Like that seems to be like sort of Diddy's MO. I mean, the shit that like has been rumored about that guy for so long and how he's been able to sort of skate by it for so long has been really extraordinary.
Shocking. I think he killed Biggie.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Aaron, we're just talking about Diddy. Your thoughts?
Did he kill Biggie?
No, just on the Diddy parties.
Yeah, that's wild, man. I ain't never seen nothing like it, so can't speak on it.
Because he might be.
You've never been to any other party like the one we went to?
Who are we, Brace?
When you and I went to the white party 7 years ago?
Brace, I don't know you outside of this screen right here.
I didn't know myself that night. I mean, it was crazy. It was frankly crazy. It was frankly crazy. I think there's a lot of people who probably did some pretty embarrassing, fucked up stuff with Diddy who like don't really want that to be like out there. I mean, the Meek Mill, I feel bad for the guy. I mean, he really got torn the fuck up over that.
Yeah.
And so
Fun.
I can imagine that a lot of no pun intended. Actually, no, I do intend to pun intended.
Meek Mill vehemently denies these allegations in his post on X, the Everything app. He said,
well, he also says how much he loves pussy.
I love pussy. That shit.
He said he would run a red light for some pussy.
Multiple red lights. Yeah. So think twice. Maybe watch your mouth around Meek Mill.
I'm not saying Meek Mill did it. I'm just saying Meek Mill was named in a lawsuit and people it had done to him. But I'm saying that Meek Mill, instead of sort of being viewed as a victim, everyone was like, you're gay. And so I think there's probably a lot of people who don't want to be like, who maybe were like victimized by Diddy, who don't want to come out and say it because like that, people don't really have like, no one had like pity for Meek Mill after that. It was just like, you were gay with Puff Daddy.
Right. There was, we lost it. When you have like underage children, like in the Epstein thing, there's a lot of empathy. When you're Meek Mill and you're getting torn up, it's like, what did you do to stop this, Meek?
Yeah, there's also implications of Justin Bieber.
Dude, yeah. And like something happened to him, dude.
Yeah, he on some shit right now for sure.
Yeah. Remember when he and his girlfriend or his wife, had like simultaneous like brain like injuries for a few years ago?
I forgot
it was
about
like
that.
2021, like they both had like weird mini strokes at the same time.
That feels like they took the same like incredibly powerful drug.
Yeah, or there was the rumor that I had heard is that they were doing this weird like brain shock stuff connected through their church in LA and like kind of experimental like therapies that they were doing.
Have you ever gotten audited at the Church of Scientology, Brace?
I did it in the Powell Street BART station. Not audited. They did the shocking
How many
thing.
thetans did they find?
Not enough. No, but my friend's old roommate started kind of like going just to like, he was walking by. He's like, he knows like Scientology is a cult, whatever. He's like, was like, I'll just go check this thing out. It's weird. And they started like they started. He like got into it, and like eventually had the people had to sit him down and be like, you can't go to this anymore. I can't like. Apparently, the celeb center in LA, they used to have a really good brunch there, and they would like let normal people in, and you could eat there, and like you'd see like maybe a Scientology connected celebrity. But there is a crazy scene of Scientologists. Like if you move to LA, this is why so many people become it. Because like a lot of the people who work on commercials, like not necessarily in front of the camera, but like the crews and production companies are Scientology run. So you can like get jobs that you wouldn't otherwise like be able to get if you just start going to the church.
I could see that. Just like it's good for business.
Yeah.
How
Thankfully, I was born into another showbiz religion, and so I didn't even have to fuck with Scientology.
Yeah,
as you call it, the showbiz religion.
Well, that's the thing. Like everyone that's born into, it's only converts, right, to Scientology. Can you be born into Scientology?
No, you can
as a
be,
child.
Yeah.
You're a birthright Scientologist. I did not
Yeah.
know that. But what a home run for the church to get Tom.
I know
to
you
get
should see.
Tom
You should
Cruise.
see their version of the Briss.
Oh no, I don't know if I want to see that.
Yeah,
I don't want to see it. But yeah, whoever signed up Tom Cruise, like talk about hitting it out of the park with a convert.
Oh, incredible convert.
Yeah.
Brace, what a great actors of all time. My dog.
I agree. I have one more thing to ask you because we were talking about this before you joined the show. Arian and I were discussing our past as rascals when we were in middle school, high school, and the links you would go to, one, to find drugs, two, to figure out a way to smoke those drugs, whether it was like buying stuff from the store and taping things together, getting aluminum foil. What was your go-to method as a youth, a troubled youth, if you were looking to, like, what's the weirdest thing you've ever smoked out of?
Oh, well, the first drug I ever did was I smoked salvia out of an apple, which didn't work.
Salvia was crazy.
But the nastiest thing, I don't even know if it's the nastiest. I mean, I listen, later in my life, in my youth, I was addicted to drugs, needle drugs, you might say. And I shot up with Gatorade, which, by the way, we don't fuck with Gatorade. We fuck with, what's the shit you guys have there?
Body armor.
Body armor. I would never shoot up with body armor because that shit is too good for you, and that would be too healthy to do. That'd be like taking TRT or something.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't.
You
shot a needle full of body armor. I mean, it's come on. They're not letting you in the Olympics after that.
Yeah.
But the nastiest thing I ever did was definitely through a cigarette butt I found on the ground as a filter. I made crack once, and it was so bad. The crack that I made was so bad that it not only gave a guy I was smoking with an ulcer, it popped the ulcer.
All at once?
Yes.
So it grew an ulcer and immediately exploded.
Yes, I mutated a guy.
That's fucking crazy.
It's the only time I ever made crack. And let me tell you, people give crackhead. Listen, I wasn't a crackhead. I mean, I kind of acted like a crackhead, but I've only smoked. I smoked crack recreation. It wasn't a lifestyle for me. But once you smoke it, you're like, I understand the crackhead, but you don't really give.
I've always thought that though, but
yeah.
I think I've said it before. But like for somebody to throw their entire life away to smoke this, it has to be amazing. The feeling has to be.
It's incredible.
I can only imagine because I don't want to be a crackhead, so I'm not going to smoke crack. That's a wild thing to say out loud. But like,
never say never. But yeah,
no, you're just a crackhead that doesn't use crack. I think we all are. It's inside all of us.
Everybody has it in them.
Once I'm in hospice care,
oh fuck yeah,
I'm like, forget the fentanyl.
Yeah.
Forget the whatever the morphine. Give me a little bit of crack.
Yeah.
If I'm still here at 95, I'm going out like that. Maybe not crack, but maybe like heroin, or I'll do heroin and like a bunch of hits of acid and just go out on top of the world. You know what I mean?
A guy I knew once bought cat shit that he was told was heroin.
That's wild.
Just cat shit in a bag. But I used to, the big thing I used to do, we would steal liquor, but we would also sometimes get wine, and we'd mix wine with Coca-Cola. We call it sangria, but that was kind of nice to do. That's actually a pretty good mixed drink.
It's not bad. They do drink that in Spain.
But dude, once I was in rehab and I saw a guy fucking smoke melatonin.
Does that fuck you up?
That's exactly what I asked him, and he said yes, but I think it was psychosomatic.
Yeah.
I also saw a guy smoke the antipsychotic drug Seroquel, and I was like,
You just gotta
bro.
smoke something at that point.
I gotta smoke something.
I mean,
And this was like at the peak of my like drug using, and I was like, no, man, this is too weird.
You,
like
you
I'm
can
not,
smoke.
I'm not.
You can smoke. What is it? Nutmeg? Yeah, nutmeg, and that'll
Yeah,
fuck you up.
that was a classic thing. I think I don't know what nutmeg is though.
It's a spice.
I know, but like, yeah.
It's
So you
what-
just, but what does it do to you?
I
When you
think it's a
smoke it?
hallucinogen. I think it really trips you out. It's like psychoactive if you smoke it.
You guys have smoked DMT?
Never. I don't think I want to. I don't think
Me
I want.
either.
Everything I hear about it, there's nothing attractive about DMT to me. The DMT experience has been explained to me that you smoke it, you feel like you go on a journey for an hour, which takes about half a second in real life time. So if you've ever seen that movie Contact with Jodie Foster, Brace, have you seen that?
I have.
Okay, so at the end when she comes back and she's testifying for Congress, and she's like,
And
well,
run that one back too. That they need to remake that shit.
that's a good one. They're like, well, your video camera, all it came back with in this alleged exploration of the galaxy that you saw, only thing we saw was static. And then they were like, but wait, there were 14 hours of static
18.
when she just dropped through it instantly. Yeah. So I've been told DMT, you feel like you're going on a long journey. You come back and it's the molecule that gets released when you die. I personally feel like it's important to have, that sounds like an important molecule to keep in your brain and to not release prematurely.
See, I look at it.
I want to be
different way.
surprised.
As an atheist, right? I don't think I have no recollection of anything that has happened prior to 1986, right? Nothing. It just all life up to that point has nothing to do with me, right? For some reason, like if I was to think there was something after this, there's a very small part of me that thinks it would be something like that. Because what is the one thing about the universe that we know is like that time is relative, right? And so for a drug to have you experience that in a very real way, like it lasts like 15 minutes. And I've heard people say, yo, I felt like I was in there for a lifetime. Like I felt like I lived a life in there. That is very emblematic of what space is. Like the natural origins of our universe is very emblematic of that. And so if I was to think something was going to happen after this and my body's decomposing, it would be something like that. Of course I don't know, but that's why I do want to experience it. I want to see, because people have had changed personalities after they do that shit. That could be it could be chemical. So I could be.
Well, it's like when people talk about, ayahuasca and they're like, yeah, you vomit for 3 days, like you're shaking,
That's wild,
and you see
man.
all these things. I'm like, or not ayahuasca. What's the other one?
That's the one. Ayahuasca.
That's okay. Well, I'm like,
in the wilderness of South America. Amazon.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, man, I want to go to lunch. Like, I don't want to.
I got shit to do.
Like I want to, I want to eat chilaquiles. Like, I don't want to smoke ayahuasca. And DMT. It's for me. I'm also like, if it's a chemical that gets released when I die, I'm like, oh, that's crazy, man. Of course I would do it in a heartbeat if Joe Rogan returns my calls and says, you can come on, you'll be the manager of the comedy mothership. We're gonna grease you up and run you around like a pig and chase you and all that stuff. I'd smoke it with Joe. I'd throw away all my sobriety for Joe. But I'm afraid to do it because everyone's like, oh yeah, you see the machine elves. I'm like, I don't want to see any of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
leave something for your death. I feel like I'm going to want it then.
Exactly. Because at least like now when I, eventually when I'm like in charge of everything and, one of my haters finally takes an assassination attempt on me that works and I'm like dying, I can at least be like, oh, cool, I get to do DMT now.
Yeah.
But like, if I already smoke it, then I'm like, well, I already did my fucking death shit,
I hear you. I agree with that statement.
Heaven's crazy. The Barstool needs to release a religious vertical that I can head because I'm telling you, Arian, I also don't believe in God, but I've been reading the Bible for the first time. We gotta go to heaven, dude.
Bro, you want to do a Bible series with me?
I would love to.
That should be dope.
It sounds crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, these guys were doing angels. I thought when people said that they were just talking about every woman. And now I realize they're talking about like God has fucking shooters that like do his shit, right? Which is great. And Jesus, and this is the other thing about Jesus. Jesus obviously very controversial because he kind of, my people once had a covenant with God, apparently involved circumcision and all these other things. Jesus comes down and he's like, we're making a new covenant. And we're like, oh, no takebacks. And we nail his ass up. No disrespect. First of all, we obviously didn't do that. It's manual labor. So like, first of all, we're innocent. We didn't do that shit. And second of all, if we hadn't done that, then wouldn't there kind of not, that's like the main thing that he did, right? I mean, he died and he came back to life. So why are people mad at us for doing that? Because we hooked it up. We did, like, in sports terms, oftentimes in basketball, which I play, there's one guy kind of puts the ball towards the net, and then another even better athlete comes up and puts it in all the way. And so we're doing like a layup.
It's called a oop.
Alley-oop.
An alley-oop. Excuse me.
We say
An alley-oop.
basketball, which I play.
We're doing an alley-oop. And you know, it's a nasty alley-oop. I'm not proud of what happened. What allegedly they say we did. I'm not saying it did happen.
It was behind the back.
It was behind the back. It was a little bit behind the back when we did. But probably someone else did it. We were just there. We're like, fuck yeah. We're in concert with God, who we've known first, and we've been really close with the entire time. We're like, alley-oop, and God comes in and oops it. But everyone's mad at us?
It's an interesting point.
Yeah.
Big T, what happened? You're a Christian, a God-fearing. I see you at church on Sundays. Never see you at the bank, but I see you at church. What? Why is this? Are people mad about this? It's good that he got crucified, no?
Yes.
It's good for you.
In a way. Yeah, it is good for me. Yes. It probably
Well, people are like, just go ahead.
No, I mean, it wasn't great at the time for Jesus.
Yeah, but he's like,
He had to know it was coming, you know?
he had to know it was coming, right?
He did. Yeah.
He was like about
That was part of the whole thing. Yeah.
He was like about to get that DMT.
But he got DMT twice.
Yeah, that's true.
He got a double dose. What I don't understand is I'm like, okay, yeah, like we did that shit, and he suffered and he died for our sins. First of all, unmarried, so didn't suffer that much. And second of all, because his wife would have been Jewish, and boy, that would have been. But second of all, what if what if I die in a way crazier way? Like for instance, the rack. What if they kill me on the rack in like 1500? Aren't I kind of be like, that Jesus shit wasn't even that bad. Like, this is way worse.
Yeah.
And so, like, do you get to go? Is there like a players club in heaven where, like, if you died in a fucked up way too, you get to hang with Jesus more? Is there a VIP?
Whoever suffered more gets better status.
Yeah.
Yeah, game recognized game. Welcome to the club. Yeah. VIP. Get behind the ropes.
I can't wait to go to heaven. I do want to wait, to be clear. But when I get there, I'm going to be, because they're going to make me young again. But I'm just like, it's going to be incredible. Forever I'm in paradise?
Can they make you, like, do you get to do cool bad shit when you're up there? Because some of the most fun stuff to do is bad.
That's why I'd be out. Yeah, that's why I'd be out. Yeah.
I'd be out.
But if you like that and you accepted Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior and you still got to heaven, would you be allowed to do all the things on earth that were considered sins?
Like what?
Well, in heaven.
We gonna be doing that.
Sin, no.
Everything's
there's no sin.
Everything's a sin though.
No, that's not true.
So what do you?
All the
gambling
fun
a
shit
sin?
is sin. All the fun shit is sin.
Yeah.
Not if you win, Brace.
Yeah, because then you're making things bountiful.
Yeah, if you lose, then it makes you do things that you don't want to do, like steal or DM college athletes on Twitter and be like, "Hey, you piece of shit, why'd you miss that layup at the end of the game?" But if you win, it's all good.
Yeah. I guess that's what I understand. It's like sports gambling is probably the number one most virtuous thing you can do on earth, right?
I would agree.
But I have a feeling that Jesus, the regime in heaven, would be like, no fucking in heaven. And so I get there and I'm like, okay, well, this is the main thing, the only thing that gives me joy. So I'm supposed to just be in heaven being like, oh, I loved your basketball game. You did a really good job. No money at the end of it for me. It just seems ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
You know, because Christ would allow if he was, they had parlays back then and they were doing it during the crucifixion. Like, oh, I bet they get the nail in like three hammers. Christ would have been like, you know what? First of all, I forgive you. First of all, I forgive you. But second of all, let me get 20 on that. Because it's something that everybody loves.
And also he gets the most shout outs after games. Like if the team wins, like
and that's true.
Thanks,
and
Jesus.
how could me supporting a Christ-fearing individual
right
monetarily
Oh man.
with risky parlays that I've spent all of my money on. In fact, I'm addicted to it. I'm going broke and I've ruined my life, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm ruining my life for guys who like Christ, and I'm not allowed to do this in heaven. Make it make sense.
And some of that money goes to the guys that love Jesus because the league has official sponsorships with the gambling companies. The more they make, the more ends up going. You're paying their salary by losing bets.
Should we try a strategy in the NCAA tournament of only betting on either Christian schools or players who we know have publicly professed their faith in Christ?
I think so. I think that's good.
Dude, no, Big T, this is what we got to do. We have to create a Christian sports gambling fucking app, dude. This is how we make it big. We have to make a Christ-centric sports gambling app. And we can do other shit too. Like we can add, like, is there going to be a miracle this year? Like whatever, like we could bet on how many abortions or whatever's going to happen. Like, but anything Christ-centric. We could just got to get in this app and we could make a fucking million. These event market things, Kalshi, whatever, are legal now. And I'm saying, I like all that stuff, but it doesn't seem like it's God focused. It's God conscious. Yeah. And to me, I am, since getting like a third of the way in the Bible over the past 2 years, like I'm becoming God conscious. And I'm like, I need to put my money where my mouth is. I mean, you hear about this, guys? They make you give 10% of your money to the church.
Tithings.
Tithing. They tax you. And I'm like, if they're going to tax, let us give something back.
Easy. Taxes.
I know we're not paying those anymore, guys. Don't worry. Trump is taking care of us. Trump is taking care of us. We're getting Bitcoin. Which is God conscious. We're getting Bitcoin. We're not paying taxes. He's defunding the IRS. I got a little while ago my FBI FOIA back. This is just one page of it. And they're like, we can't release any of it to you. And I was like, I thought it was because I was under active investigation still, which I think I technically still am, but it's not. I think I'm just under investigation, but it's just going to be open forever. I hit up this lawyer and he's like, don't worry about it. The FBI is completely in disarray since Trump took office. And so if there's anybody surveilling you, they've like been reassigned or like demoted for being woke. Like you're good.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Brace.
I'm good. I can do whatever I want.
That's very cool. I like the draft King of Kings. How about that?
I love it.
Nice.
Nice.
Let's make it happen.
That'd be big for inevitable Pope race.
Oh yeah, money on the Pope.
Oh my God, guys, we gotta get in on this.
When's he gonna die?
Well, and then who would the next Pope be?
Then who wins?
General, that's right.
Dude, and we could fuck some of them up too to make sure they don't become Pope.
Yeah, do they? Insider trading on it.
Insider trading.
When they do the conclave, do they narrow it down? Can we bet on like who's going to make the final four?
There are favorites already.
I will say the Filipino guy.
Yeah.
I am rooting for him.
Yeah.
Brace, I was saying on part of my take that I want a fat Pope. How awesome would that be?
I would love a fat Pope.
I feel like the Pope should always be a little hefty.
I want obese, like just the fattest guy that they can find.
Something that I like seeing is when a fat guy has rings on every finger.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's power.
There's something soothing about that.
It's like he knows his own power. Yeah.
He knows his own power. I think, and this is also advice to any hefty listeners out there. If you are fat and you don't want to lose weight, just bedeck yourself in jewels. And like it grants import and it grants a certain type of like, I don't know what it is. It's scary. It's
Mhm.
scary because if you were brought in front of a fat guy with a big ass chain and like 5 gold rings on every finger, including thumb, you're like, oh fuck, like this is the dawn of dawn. This is Christ to me. And so like I agree, like there's nobody who has access to jewelry like the Pope does. And so I'm saying Pope needs to be fat and bejeweled. But I do want the Filipino guy to win because I might meet him this summer
Oh yeah, where?
in Rome. I might go to Rome for a political religious conference and hopefully meet the Filipino dude.
I love that. I love that for you, Brace. Also, one thing I'd like
Yeah.
to see get into, which I'm personally very invested in, is the new enhanced games that are coming out. Have you heard of those?
Oh yeah.
The enhanced games I'm very into, especially when you see who's running it.
Well, who was that fella? Who was that fella who won all those damn home runs? Barry Bonds.
Yeah, he won a lot.
He won them all.
Uh-huh.
He won a lot of those home runs. And what city was he from? San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
But yet he was not given some kind of award because he was rumored to be doing the same things that everyone else was doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That era is done. we are in the enhanced games right now. I've always been like, because I don't really exercise. But I was like, if I didn't exercise, but I took a lot of steroids, I feel like I would end up looking like Sam Hyde. But I do want to, and I really, what I want to do is I want to get a bunch of guys who got nothing to lose. I want to inject them with cocktails of my own devising, supplied to me with chemicals that I buy on fucking various Chinese websites like Temu or even Shein. And I want to put them I want the Belden team to go in there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, I think Barstool should start like pumping you guys full of things.
Yeah, we've got
and get you in the game.
We've got a large stable of freaks, myself included. Like, we're not very athletic. We've got unusual bodies. It would be an interesting little petri dish to see if we gave like world-class steroids. I want clean stuff for all the fellas around here.
How many actual ex-pro athletes work at Barstool?
Well, let's see. Arian does this podcast. Ex-professional athletes.
Pat
Pat
Bev.
Bev.
Pat Bev.
We just lost.
Well, he's a current
lost a couple.
He's current professional athlete, Pat Bev.
What game did he play?
Basketball.
I mean, sport.
He played.
Oh yeah, I ran into him on the court a couple of times.
While he was playing.
He did play in Israel this last year.
And why would I be playing there? Why would I be playing there?
I think you could play anywhere you. Actually, level of competition is probably higher in Israel. It was a compliment.
It's probably higher.
Everybody balls over there. I think that might be it for former professional athletes.
Whitney, Biz.
Oh yeah, sorry, Biz and Whit. They played NHL hockey.
Really?
Yeah. Biz, actually, you should look into this, Brace. Our good friend Paul Bissonnette got attacked by a mob of Irish travelers in Arizona. So they were on like a little golf trip with the fellas. These guys are from Texas, but they're gypsies that live in the United States. There's a vast network of Irish travelers, and they make their money going town to town doing like driveway repaving scams. So they talk to somebody that's got a weird driveway, and they're like, hey, we'll repave this for you. Give us 50%. And they got weird accents. It's like half Irish, half deep Texan.
Yeah.
They get the 50% down. They leave town. They go to the next town. They get into fights everywhere. Every restaurant they go into, if they're drunk, they will start a fight with the wait staff, with the customer there. They just fight everywhere. So our friend Paul Bissonnette saw this group of what he thought was just golfers coming in, and they go up to the hostess and the manager at this restaurant that Biz was in, and they start a fight, and they start shoving the manager. Biz steps up. Biz played in the NHL for years as a goon. He didn't really score. He was a gooner. He went out there and he would fight. That's what he did. So Biz was like, hey, leave these people alone. They're good, hardworking people, which in his Canadian accent sounds so funny to hear. He's like, leave them alone. And then one of them punched Biz, and then Biz started fighting like 6 of these guys at the same time. Knocked a couple of them out, got taken out of the parking lot. They chased him, and then they all got arrested. But now I'm so interested in finding out more about this subculture that I was not even aware of until like 4 months ago. But you should look into these guys.
They had a TV show called My Big Fat Gypsy Wedding that revolved around the lifestyles of a lot of these people. I love that. Once a group of these guys came into my friend's pizza place and they stole every single napkin.
That was their getaway?
No, that's all they did. They didn't order any pizza. I think one of them like hemmed and hawed at the counter, but they just stole every single napkin from there, from like the dispensers, and then left.
You think they used probably toilet paper on the road?
I probably just threw it on the street. I love these
They're
guys.
just
I mean,
agents
it's
of chaos.
incredible. I think it's cool when you find out that there's a new kind of even more insane white guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought we collected them all.
I know. I thought we had all of them, but like, I gotta tell you, I've been thinking about this for a while. Barstool racial rankings of the craziest white boys there are, and this is not necessarily a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
The Boers got to be number one. The Boers freak me the fuck out. Their evilest accent, and no disrespect to I don't think there's any Boers listening to this. Evilest accent, scariest history,
Mm-hmm.
and craziest present. After that, we're going to have to go somewhere like Albania. And I like the Albanians. I'm afraid of the Albanians, which I hope you respect.
Mm-hmm.
If you're Albanian listening to this, I love the Albanians. And some say you aren't white. I say you maybe are, because you own all the Italian restaurants in New York now. Albania is number 2. And might have to have the Irish Travelers as number 3.
There might be 3. There's some actual Caucasians that I would put up there too.
Like who? Like
Azerbaijan. There's some crazy.
That's a Turk.
It's a Turk. Okay, you know better than I do. What about the Uzbeks?
I had dinner with an Uzbek friend last night. Great guy, by the way. Fantastic jeweler. I'll riddle you this. You know, so you 47th Street here in New York City.
Uh-huh.
Well, the Diamond District. Where my people are. At the front, you see Ashkenazis, but in the back, making all the jewels, that is Uzbeki Jews doing that. But he said when he was a kid, we went to Hot Pot last night. He said when he was a kid, he doesn't eat lamb because when he was a child in Canada, his parents took a lamb, and like all the Uzbeki Jews did this. It was like they all did it. They killed the lamb and then smeared the blood on the faces of the first sons of the family.
What the
That was
fuck?
like a tradition.
Yeah. But I think they're technically Asian, but my boy looks Puerto Rican.
Okay, so I'd like to say instead of the Uzbeks, Chechens. What about them?
Chechens are the scariest white people ever exist.
Yeah, they're terrifying.
I'm so scared of them.
Yes.
I've never met them. And they fight on every side of every war, which I like now, or at least every war in that region.
like
they were literally every side of the Syrian civil war. They're on both sides of the Russia-Ukraine war. They just love to fight.
Mm-hmm. It's in their blood. All right. Well, Brace, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. We love you.
I love Barstool.
I learned some stuff today. Brace, who do you love more, Barstool or Steve Bannon? Or Laura Loomer?
Oh, if Barstool was able to collab with Loomer and Bannon, I think that we would have we'd be in different territory right now. I don't think there would be an MSNBC anymore. I don't think there'd be a Fox. I think it would just be Barstool. And another thing, you've told me off air that you think Barstool should replace all media.
Yeah, I do,
including weather.
That's a fact.
And I fully agree with that.
And children's shows.
I think that Barstool is left wing. Barstool is right wing. Barstool is right in the center.
All right, thank you, Brace. I appreciate that. I will talk to Swig. I actually don't have Swig's info. I think I met him like twice.
I don't either. He blocked me.
That's
and
sad.
You know who? The only other people who have blocked me are women. And I just want to be clear. Women associated with the head of Doji, who, by the way, just got his phone number today. So we have a lot of fun with that.
Wait, who's?
I
got
Elon.
You got the Musk
What?
phone number?
But yeah, no, I have Elon Musk's phone number now.
All right. Well, I please tell me what you do with that.
I want to be pregnant.
Okay. So,
Now, does he, the messages I saw from that Ashley St. Clair woman, they were on like a Telegram or something.
Signal, I think.
So he uses that. He doesn't use iMessage, right?
Yeah. I think so. I mean, he probably does. Can you imagine having deleted messages on for your? She's not getting that. She's. I think she played her cards wrong.
I think so too.
And I know the baby's docs. I have the full docs of the baby, not the full docs. I don't have the length.
It's so
But I
funny.
have
Can
the
you
full-
imagine
I have
somebody
the partial
doxing a baby?
I partially dox the baby, and it's. I love the baby, but it's a partial dox, and I got to tell you, Elon, my brother, You gotta watch it. Elon, I love you. I love your body. I don't like your politics, but I love looking at you. I think it's extraordinary the way you look, because you look like sometimes in the 90s when they draw comic book characters and they had so many muscles in so crazy places that weren't even real. They have that for you, but with organs. So you have like 4 kidneys and like you're like a gizzard or something. And Elon, I want to see Elon. I want you to die of natural causes. I don't want you to die, but you will die. You will die. Everyone dies. I want you to experience a DMT blast that you will love, but I want to be there for the vivisection. And I will do anything that it takes.
The funniest take I saw on the baby was that she put it out on Valentine's Day because she was pissed off that he was not hanging out with her on Valentine's Day.
It's 100% true.
Yeah.
Yes, that's definitely what it was. And because the ex-wife Siobhan Zillis, who does also mute Siobhan and block me. I just want to get in your life. I just want to be in your life. There's a man's not in your life enough. I'm a man. I could be in your life. You know, I love technology related things, you know, the space coming, all these things that your husband or not husband, whatever he is to you, enjoys. I can fulfill that role. I can raise your fucking beautiful children, Selden Lycurgus. The child's name is Selden Lycurgus, man. Lycurgus.
Like that's a type of acid, isn't it?
No, it was I think a Roman guy.
Oh, is the L in LSD? What does that stand for?
Lesbian.
Lucy.
Okay, lesbian. Hey, Lucy, yeah, good call. I actually think that if you called Elon with an Arnold Schwarzenegger like 1996 soundboard, he would be like, "Oh, this is so funny. This is the funniest thing I've ever heard."
Yes. I might try to. I've been thinking a lot about how to do it. I don't know if it's illegal. I got to look up if it's illegal to just say his number on our show. I think it might.
It might be.
But it's because it's a work number. It's his dog number or his doggy number. But I'm gonna do something with it.
Think about.
I think I could trick him.
You could think about the downloads though you get for that episode. The
know.
entire episode is just Elon Musk's phone number, and it's
Yeah.
a 5-second long episode. Probably get millions of downloads.
I mean, one of our highest rated episodes was we pretended to do an interview with AOC and then just like didn't put any audio in. And that's like got more downloads than almost any other episode. No, it was all interstitial audio.
How'd you do
Like,
that?
so people kept thinking that it would start and then people thought there was a glitch, but there was we got a lot of downloads on that.
It's good. Got to game the system.
Paywall.
Well, thank you, Brace. You're the man. Appreciate you joining.
Thank you.
And yeah, please tell us. Follow Brace online. Follow at TrueAnonPod on X, the Everything app. It's all happening on X. Where else can they find you? Because I want people, if they enjoy Brace on Macrodosing, you should listen to him on his own program too.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, TrueAnon Pod. That's it.
All right, we love you, Brace. Thank you for joining us.
Love you guys. See ya.
All right, that was Brace. I love Brace. You guys love Brace. Brace loves everyone.
Great guy.
Radical centrist. Brace Belden. So that'll do it for today's episode of Macrodosing. Learned a lot today. Made some friends, some laughs, some tears. Hope to see you guys next Tuesday on Nanodosing. Arian will be in studio next week.
In a building.
And Champ Week.
And Champ Week. Big T.
Big week.
Let's go. Big T.
What is Champ Week?
Conference tournaments.
A&M.
Oh.
Beat Auburn. Is Tennessee better than Auburn?
Where did you get this from? I don't get it. I really don't get it. I think
I'm busting your balls. A&M. I called that last night. Not to brag.
Good.
Felt like a good spot. Good letdown spot for Auburn. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Love you guys.